Chapter 1376. Brat, you're too naive. You don't know how powerful we are. The black-robed youth snorted. The white-clothed woman smiled sweetly. Although we know you have ice from the aura just now, it can't freeze us. Brat, do you know what kind of flame we are? The black-robed youth said proudly. I'm the black dragon flame. It's evolved from the flame on the founder's body. How can a puny human like you compare to me? Kneel down and hand over the blood soul stone. Black dragon flame? No wonder it's so familiar. Lin Xian whispered. He felt a familiar flame aura from the black-robed man, but he didn't expect it to be from the founder of the black dragon religion. He had once used the black dragon flame before, but he had abandoned it later on. The black flame he was using now was the dark sky black flame, a flame even more terrifying than the black dragon flame. Since they were both flames, the dark sky bird was even more terrifying than the founder of the black dragon religion. Her flame couldn't be compared to his black flame martial soul. Understanding all of this, a smile crept onto Lin Xian's lips. He looked at the white-clothed woman again and asked, if he's the black dragon flame, what kind of flame are you? The black dragon flame doesn't have white flames, right? Hee, of course I'm not the black dragon flame. The white-clothed woman smiled with a hint of coldness in her voice. I'm the spectral bone flame, a flame formed from the burning of countless experts' corpses. Although it's not the founder's black dragon flame, its power is definitely not weak. So, brat, you should obediently accept your death. Spectral bone flame? Lin Xian's eyes narrowed as killing intent appeared in his eyes. Indeed, the rise of the black dragon religion had killed countless creatures in the southern heaven region. And this white-clothed woman was the spectral bone flame condensed from those corpses. It was extremely strange. It was somewhat similar to the white yin thunder in Lin Xian's hand. I see. I didn't expect the two of you to have such extraordinary origins. Lin Xian nodded slightly. No wonder I couldn't kill you before. But since I already know your origins, there's no need to talk anymore. Now go to hell. Lin Xian's expression was cold and filled with killing intent. What did you say? You want us to go to hell? The two people in front sneered. Brat, do you know what you're saying? What an idiot. You are the first person who dares to boast like this after knowing our identity. Since you don't want to die obediently, don't blame us for being impolite. Their voices were filled with disdain. Then, the black and white figures flashed and turned into two balls of black and white flames, quickly attacking Lin Xian. That terrifying aura caused the entire void to distort and crack. Lin Xian didn't retreat when he saw the two charging at him. Instead, he waved his hand and a ball of black flames appeared on his palm. Black fire? The black-robed man was stunned when he saw this. Then, he sneered disdainfully, Brat, don't think that you can scare me by making the flame black. A flame like yours is nothing in my eyes. Before he could finish, the voice suddenly stopped. In the next moment, the black-robed man's pupils suddenly constricted, and he let out a shrill scream as if he had been heavily injured. What? How is that possible? How can you hurt me? He roared crazily, his nerves twisted and his face full of disbelief. Impossible, this is impossible. There's no flame in this world that can hurt me? I'm the sect leader's origin flame. He was crazy. He was really crazy. He was evolved from the flame on the black dragon sect leader's body. It was extremely terrifying. Even the Sky Prides would have a headache when they saw it. However, the other party had heard him. He found it hard to believe because something like this had never happened before. At the side, the woman in white was also stunned. What? How is that possible? You hurt the dragon flame? Brat, how did you do it? A look of shock appeared on her delicate face. What is that black flame in your hand? How can it compete with the sect leader's flame? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Humph? How dare a black dragon call itself a dragon? You must have a death wish. What? How dare you say that about the black sect leader? Damn it, aren't you a disciple of the saint sect? At that moment, the woman in white and the man in black were stunned. They did not expect the young man in front of them to be so arrogant as to insult the sect leader. This was definitely a capital offense in the saint sect. Unless the other party was not a member of the saint sect. There's no need to know so much about a dying person. Lin Xian said coldly. Then he quickly stretched his palm forward. You must have a death wish. You're too presumptuous. The two of them were furious and attacked crazily. They had said the same thing to Lin Xian before. They did not expect him to return it. The man in black robe roared. His body quickly melted and turned into a black dragon. It roared in the air and rushed toward Lin Xian. The woman in white also turned into a ball of white flame. She exuded an extremely cold aura and flew forward quickly. Lin Xian was expressionless. He said in a low voice, "Black flame martial soul, materialize." In the next moment, countless black lines appeared on his body. From those lines, balls of black flame surged out and danced on his body. Not only that, 2 pairs of black flame wings appeared on Lin Xian's back. They spread out quickly like the wings of a demon. At the same time, a terrifying heat burst out from his body and swept through the entire space. Lin Xian released his black flame martial soul and punched out. Suddenly, countless black flames condensed and formed a strange black bird that flew forward. If the people of the Jianghu continent were here, they would definitely scream. The heavenly netherbird. That's right. Lin Xian's black flame martial soul came from the heavenly netherbird. At that moment, he used the black flames to condense the heavenly netherbird's appearance and quickly rushed forward. In the next moment, the 3 balls of flames collided and released a terrifying energy fluctuation. Ah! Then, from the center of the energy, a man and a woman screamed. They were so miserable that it made people tremble. Impossible. How can you have such a terrifying flame? Who are you? Damn it. What kind of flame is this? The 2 of them roared crazily. But soon their voices disappeared. Not only that, their auras also disappeared. Only Lin Xian's black flames were left in the sky, burning fiercely. As for those 2 fire spirits, they never appeared again. Under Lin Xian's control, the 9 nether black flames quickly spread and burned the surrounding corpses clean. Then they returned to Lin Xian's body. Soon the entire space returned to normal. There were no abnormalities. Chapter 1377. Soon the entire space returned to normal. There were no abnormalities. Other than Lin Xian, no one else knew that a great battle had taken place here. I didn't expect the Black Dragon sect to have such a strange creature like the fire spirit. How rare. I wonder what surprises there will be at the Octatic treasure chest game tomorrow? Lin Xian muttered to himself. Then he disappeared in a flash. In fact, while Lin Xian was fighting with these people in another secret room, Nangong Hao, Blood Rogue, Ghostly, and a few other prodigies were gathered. Among them, Nangong Hao said in a deep voice, "This time we have sent out the elites of each hall. Even we will have a headache if we work together. With that kid's strength, it is impossible for him to survive. It's too easy for him to die just like that. If it weren't for the Octatic treasure chest game tomorrow, I would have killed him myself." Blood Rogue snorted. Ghostly was also disappointed. Sigh. What a pity. Such a good soul is wasted just like that. However, Shadowless's expression was solemn. You're too confident. Based on my observation, Hua Wufeng is indeed powerful. He's not weaker than us. Therefore, it was better not to make a decision so early. At the side, Ziyang also nodded. He kept having a bad premonition. However, Yu Luocha smiled disdainfully. No matter what your people do, that kid will definitely die today. You're that confident? Blood Rogue glanced at her. I know what you're planning. You all want that Blood Soul Stone. But let me tell you, that Blood Soul Stone is definitely mine. You're too confident. Ghostly sneered. Of course. Because for the sake of preparing for the unexpected, I've invited 2 fire spirits. What? You invited fire spirits? Everyone's expression changed when they heard this. Blood Hand, Nangong Hao, and the others even stood up with an extremely excited expression. They were all elites. Naturally, they knew what Yu Luocha meant by fire spirits. You crazy woman, what price did you pay to even invite the fire spirit? Ghost Li's expression was cold. At the side, Bloodhand's expression was unsightly as well, because in this way they would have no chance to seize the Blood Soul Stone at all. However, Yu Luocha smiled sweetly. No matter the price, the Blood Soul Stone must be mine. As they were talking, they suddenly felt an extremely majestic power coming from afar. At this moment, an extremely hot aura came from afar. Sensing this aura, Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, Ghostly, and the others' faces turned ugly. However, Yu Luocha laughed. It seems like these 2 fire spirits have taken action. Since they have taken action, it means that your people are already dead. Umph. Nangong Zhonghao snorted coldly. His expression was extremely cold. He didn't expect the other party to be so powerful to be able to kill the experts he sent out. Bloodhand and Ghostly's expressions became even more gloomy. This wasn't good news to them. In this way they would have no chance to seize the Blood Soul Stones at all. Damn it, how can that Hua Wufeng be so strong? Kill all the assassins we sent out. How long has it been? Even if it were us, I'm afraid we wouldn't be able to finish it off so quickly. That damn guy is really hard to deal with. We were too careless this time. Low voices rang out one after another. At this moment, Luocha stood up and said in a sweet voice, "Everyone, you can slowly regret it. I'm going to collect the blood soul stones." "Why are you in such a hurry? The battle isn't over yet. Although the fire spirits have taken action, it doesn't mean that you'll definitely succeed." Blood Hand said coldly. "Are you out of your mind?" Luocha snorted. "How dare you doubt the fire spirit's actions? Do you know what a fire spirit is?" Hearing this, everyone fell silent. Indeed, the fire spirit stone was extremely terrifying. Even they might not be able to win, let alone Hua Wufeng. Soon, the blazing aura in the distance disappeared and the world returned to peace. The smile on Luocha's face grew wider. "It's over. I didn't expect that kid to be so weak. It's over in such a short period of time. Everyone, I'm going to collect the blood soul stones. See you at the Octatic treasure chest game tomorrow." Luocha chuckled and walked out of the door. However, Nangong Hao and the others looked gloomy. He flung his sleeve and left quickly. After that, the others also left one after another. Although the assassination attempt had failed and they were very upset, they had no intention of taking action because there was still the Octatic treasure chest game tomorrow. As long as they could win the Octatic treasure chest game, their previous failure was nothing. The night passed quickly. The next day, the southern wilderness ancient town was bustling with activity again. Many disciples were discussing what had happened yesterday. Not everyone could enter the auction. Most ordinary disciples could not enter at all. Therefore, they did not know much about what had happened yesterday. It was not until today that the news had spread through the crowd's discussion. "You're saying that someone attacked Nangong Hao and the others yesterday? They stole all the treasures? Oh my God, I'm not dreaming, am I?" "It's true. I was there yesterday and saw how flustered and exasperated those sky prides were. I've never seen that expression in my life. That Hua Wufeng is too powerful. He managed to steal the treasures from so many sky prides without anyone knowing." "So what if he's powerful? He's already dead." Someone sneered. "What? Dead?" The crowd was in an uproar. "Are you kidding? How could such a powerful person be dead? What do you know? There was an intense battle last night. That kid must have died a horrible death. I'm afraid there's not even a corpse left." "What? There was an intense battle last night? How could that happen? Why didn't I feel anything at all? It must have been a top-notch expert. How could there not be any ripples from such an intense battle? He's too powerful." The crowd was shocked and asked one after another. Finally, they understood what had happened. It turned out that the various halls and top-notch sky prides had sent out terrifying experts to kill Hua Wufeng. It was even rumored that the fire spirit had taken action. In other words, there was no chance of him surviving. Sigh, that Hua Wufeng is too arrogant. He offended so many sky prides at the same time. Otherwise he should still be alive. What do you know? He was fine when he offended those sky prides. Those sky prides sent out people who did not hurt Hua Wufeng at all. In the end, the Pink family sent out the fire spirit to destroy him. That's why, forget about being arrogant before. You must not provoke the people from the Pink aristocratic family because no one knows what kind of terrifying experts they can find. Chapter 1378. What do you know? He was fine when he offended those sky prides. Those people sent by those sky prides didn't hurt Hua Wufeng at all. In the end, it was the fire spirit sent by the Pink family that destroyed him. That's why, forget about being arrogant before. You must not provoke the people from the Pink aristocratic family because no one knows what kind of terrifying experts they can find. Hua Wufeng is a living example. Everyone trembled when they heard about the Pink family. That's right. Even someone as strong as Hua Wufeng, who could fight against the various sky prides, was powerless in front of the Pink family. It had to be said that this was too shocking. Forget it. Let's not talk about him. Today is the last day of the Dark and Light Conference. The Octatic treasure chest game will be the highlight. That's right. The top sky prides from the various halls will definitely fight at the Octatic treasure chest game. I'm afraid you won't be able to see such an intense battle normally. It's because the Octatic treasure chest game is on the third day that those top sky prides didn't fight. Otherwise Hua Wufeng wouldn't have the chance to be so arrogant. Any sky prides could easily destroy him. That makes sense. Alright, let's go. Let's go to the Octatic treasure chest game. If we're late, we won't be able to see the fun. Everyone moved and headed towards the center of the southern wilderness ancient town. The octadic treasure chest game was a formation. To be precise, it was an ancient formation. Looking down from the sky, the formation looked like a chessboard. That was why it was called the octadic treasure chess game. In fact, it was related to chess. The formation had a total of 8 positions, and each position could allow one martial artist to stand. The martial artists would use themselves as chess pieces and battle techniques as the chessboard to move around. Not only did they have to fight against the enemies created by the formation, but they also had to fight against 7 other martial artists. It was a very dangerous formation. The leader of the Black Dragon religion used the mysterious crystal as a reward and integrated it into the formation. Then he let the disciples of the religion kill each other. Only the winner would be able to obtain the mysterious crystal. It could be said that this was a very cruel elimination mechanism. However, it gave everyone hope. As long as they were strong enough to win the octadic treasure chess game, they would be able to obtain the mysterious crystal and increase their cultivation. Now, all the martial artists in the entire southern desolate ancient town were rushing in the direction of the early octet treasure chess game. On the other side, in the drunken immortal Lin Xian opened his eyes. After killing those assassins yesterday, he returned to his room and began to absorb the power of the Blood Soul Stone. It had to be said that these Blood Soul Stones were truly miraculous, worthy of those Black Dragon cult's experts fighting over them. In just one night, Lin Xian could feel his blood essence and soul power growing. One had to know that this was an extremely rare thing. This was because his Furious Dragon Incantation and Sky Spill Visualization Diagram had both reached a bottleneck and were temporarily unable to break through. In other words, his blood chi and soul power had reached the peak. Unless he made another breakthrough and entered the 9th heavenly layer, it would be impossible for his soul power to increase again. Now, with just one Blood Soul Stone, his blood chi and soul power had improved in one night. One had to admit that it was simply too miraculous. With a flip of his palm, Lin Xian put the Blood Soul Stone into his storage ring. In just one night, I've absorbed about 1/5 of the Blood Soul Stone's energy. The effect is very obvious. The corner of Lin Xian's mouth curled up slightly. However, he couldn't absorb any more now because he wanted to see what this so-called octadic chess game was. Southern Desolation Ancient Town, octadic chess game. The ground in front rose high, forming a unique plateau. On top of it, there were crisscrossing straight lines that intersected with each other. From the sky, it looked like a huge chessboard. On this chessboard, a cold light flickered, releasing a primitive power that made one's heart palpitate. Around this chessboard, a sea of people had gathered. Countless people stretched their necks and looked forward. At the front, a few figures stood proudly. They were the geniuses of the various halls. Nangong Hao wore a robe and had an arrogant expression. When he saw Yu Luosha walking over from behind, he immediately snorted. It was obvious that he was still brooding over yesterday's incident. On the side, Bloodhand's eyes also flickered. He said in a deep voice, "Later on in the octadic chess game, do you dare to take out the Blood Soul Stone as a wager? Hee, if you dare to take it out, I can guarantee that the Blood Soul Stone will be mine." On the other side, Ghostly also sneered. Yu Luosha snorted coldly. There was a layer of ice on her exquisite face. It was obvious that she wasn't happy. The next moment she said coldly, "I won't use the Blood Soul Stone as a wager because it's not in my hands now." "Not in your hands?" Nangong Hao was stunned. Bloodhand sneered. "It's fine if you don't dare to take it out. Why lie like this? Do you think I'm afraid of you?" Yu Luosha frowned and stared at Bloodhand. "What's going on? Tell me quickly." Ghost Li's expression was cold because Yu Luosha didn't seem to be lying. Could it be that an accident had happened? "The Blood Soul Stone is indeed not in my hands because the 2 fire spirits didn't return yesterday." "What? They didn't return? How is that possible?" In the distance, Shadowless also frowned. "Do you know the reason? Could it be that those 2 fellows also wanted the Blood Soul Stone, so they didn't give it to you?" "Impossible. They are fire spirits. They don't need the Blood Soul Stone. What they need is Huoyen. So it's impossible for them to take the Blood Soul Stone. I think there must be another reason why they didn't come," Yu Luosha said solemnly. "Then what's the reason? The 2 fire spirits are incomparably powerful. No one can subdue them, right?" Bloodhand was puzzled. "Not necessarily. In this southern desolation ancient village, there's still one person who can subdue the 2 of them." "Who?" "City Lord." Yu Luosha gritted her teeth and said, "If it's the City Lord, I'm afraid the 2 fire spirits won't be able to resist." "You're saying that the City Lord also wants the Blood Soul Stone?" Ghost Li's expression became extremely ugly. "Why wouldn't he want it? The Blood Soul Stone is useful to everyone. He's also a supremacy. Naturally, he also needs the Blood Soul Stone. Yu Luosha's voice was cold. She sneered, just you wait. Anyway, the elders from the various factions will be here today. At that time, I don't believe that the city lord can resist the anger of my pink family. When the time comes, I'll make him spit it out the same way he ate it. Everyone discussed. From the beginning to the end, they never thought that it was Lin Xian who made the move. Because in their opinion, Lin Xian was already dead. It was impossible for him to defeat the fire spirits. The few geniuses were gloomy and their expressions were somewhat gloomy. At this moment, the octatic treasure chest in front of them suddenly bloomed with a dazzling light, forming 8 flickering patterns in all directions. Soon, a low voice sounded in everyone's ears. Chapter 1379. At that moment, the octatic treasure chessboard in front of them suddenly emitted a dazzling light, forming 8 flickering patterns in all directions. Soon, a low voice sounded in everyone's ears. As the voice fell, the octatic treasure chessboard in front of them changed. Black and white chess pieces appeared on the crisscrossing chessboard. Everyone held their breaths as their eyes shone with a fiery light. The most crucial moment had finally arrived. Although most of them were unable to participate, it was worth it to be able to see a battle between geniuses. At that moment, Elder Linghu also appeared in the void. He looked down and said coldly, "Now the octatic treasure chessboard begins. All geniuses please enter." Nangong Hao, 2nd Division leader of the Divine Pill Hall, Qiannan position. As his voice fell, Nangong Hao's face was filled with arrogance as he strode forward. Blood Hand, 1st Division leader of the Blood Fiend Hall, Kuan North position. Blood Hand was dressed in a blood-red robe. His expression was extremely cold, and his body was surrounded by a blood-red aura. He was like a god of death as he came to the north. Ghost Li, 1st Division leader of the Malicious Ghost Hall, Lidong position. In a black robe, Ghost Li's face was pale, and his eyes were emitting a dark green light. In a flash, he arrived above the octatic treasure chessboard and looked down. Pink aristocratic family Yu Luosha, Kuan West position. Yu Luosha was wearing a long pink dress. She was wearing a bewitching pose as she floated to the top. Purple Demon Hall, 1st Division leader Zi Yang, DUI Southeast position. Zi Yang's face was solemn as he flew forward like a purple ray of light. Assassination Hall, 1st Division leader Wu Ying, Shao Northeast position. As his voice fell, a figure had already appeared above the octatic treasure chessboard. It was Wu Ying. He was like a ghost and no one knew how he appeared. Black Wind Hall, 1st Division leader Feng Hudi, Sun Southwest position. It was a woman. She was dressed in black armor and had a sharp aura around her. She did not appear much before, but now that she appeared, her powerful aura suppressed everyone. But, like a black hurricane, she quickly arrived above them. Her powerful aura was like an invisible wave that swept in all directions. Last person, Southern Ancient Town, Guyuan, Gen Northwest position. As her voice fell, a handsome young man appeared in front of everyone. His aura was very powerful. He had also reached the 9th heaven of the Venerable Realm. His gaze was like lightning, and his aura was no weaker than that of the previous geniuses. He was from the Southern Desolate Ancient Town, the City Lord's Mansion. Guyuan laughed coldly and also strode into the formation. At this point, the 8 positions on the octatic treasure chessboard were all filled with people. Beneath their feet, 8 rays of light flickered. On the chessboard in front of them, there were different black and white chess pieces floating, shining with a strange light. However, the octatic treasure chess game did not begin immediately. Instead, Elder Linghu announced loudly, "The previous 8 people are the 8 representatives that we have chosen. They are the strongest geniuses of the younger generation. However, there are many hidden dragons and crouching tigers in our Saint sect. We don't know all of them, so if anyone wants to participate in the octatic treasure chess game, you can step forward now. Every martial artist has one chance to challenge the 8 people on the stage. However, I would like to give everyone a word of advice. The challenge is dangerous. If you are killed in the process, we will not intervene. I hope everyone will be cautious." Of course, the entire challenge process only lasted for 30 minutes. After that, the octatic treasure chess game would begin completely. As soon as Elder Linghu finished speaking, someone below lit a stick of sandalwood. Immediately, smoke rose into the air. After the initial shock, the surrounding martial artists fell silent. Pairs of eyes scanned the 8 geniuses in front of them. However, no one dared to make a move. To be honest, the 8 people in front of them were basically the strongest of the younger generation of the Black Dragon sect. Among them there were 6 top geniuses from the hall. One was from the pink aristocratic family. The other was from the city lord's mansion. The 2 of them had powerful auras. They had reached the 9th heaven of the venerable realm at such a young age. They were definitely not weaker than any of the geniuses. As for the other 2 halls, Lin Xian had killed many of the Azura Hall's martial artists. However, their main forces had yet to arrive. Therefore, no outstanding geniuses had appeared. The most puzzling one was the Nether Hall. Although the Nether Hall was the weakest force among the 8 halls, they should have 1 or 2 outstanding martial artists. However, there seemed to be no sign of the Nether Hall in the entire convention. Although everyone was puzzled, they did not suspect anything. After all, they would never believe that the Nether Hall had been destroyed. Although there was a chance to challenge them, the convention was eerily quiet. No one went up at all. Nangonghao had his hands behind his back. His face was full of arrogance. He did not even look at the crowd because he knew that no one dared to challenge him. Yuluasha's eyes were like hooks as she smiled at the crowd below. No one is coming out? That's really disappointing. Ghostly also let out a sinister laugh. Is there really no one coming out to challenge me? I still want to add a few more souls to my white bone banner. Hearing this, everyone trembled. Looking at the other party's appearance, if they really challenged him, they would probably be killed instantly. Even their souls would not be able to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Although everyone was afraid, after the silence, someone still made a move. It was a young man with a determined expression. He was tall and straight and wore a red robe. However, he was not from the Blood Fiend Hall. He was from the former 5th grade sect, the Heavenly Fire sect. However, he had now joined the Black Dragon sect. The young man held a pair of fiery red rings in his hands and strode forward. Guokai, it's actually him. It was a young man with a determined expression. He was tall and straight and wore a red robe. However, he was not from the Blood Fiend Hall. He was from the former 5th grade sect, the Heavenly Fire sect. However, he had now joined the Black Dragon sect. The young man held a pair of fiery red rings in his hands and strode forward. Guokai, it's actually him. He used to be from the Heavenly Fire sect. He can be considered a genius. I wonder who he wants to challenge? Many people's eyes flickered. They were very excited. Seeing that someone had come out, the people on the octatic treasure chessboard all looked down. Suddenly, Guokai felt a terrifying pressure pressing down on him. It was as if he was going to be crushed. He shouted coldly and quickly circulated the spiritual power in his body. Only then did he block the 8 gazes. Humph! Nangonghao sneered and shook his head. He no longer paid attention. He could see that the other party also used a fire attribute cultivation technique. However, compared to his, the other party's flames were not worth mentioning. Therefore he was not interested at all. Guokai naturally knew his own strength. Therefore he challenged Ghostly. This was because he cultivated a fire attribute cultivation technique. It was extremely strong and yang. On the other hand, Ghostly cultivated a ghost technique. Could be said that it was extremely cold and gloomy. It happened to be restrained by flames. Chapter 1380. Guokai naturally knew his own strength, which was why he challenged Ghostly. That was because he cultivated a fire elemental cultivation technique, which was extremely yang. On the other hand, Ghostly cultivated the Ghost Dao, which was extremely cold and was perfectly countered by flames. In other words, among the 8 geniuses above, only Ghostly had the opposite attribute to him. This was also his only chance. That was why Guokai wanted to give it a try. Seeing that he was going to be challenged, Ghostly immediately sneered and let out a chuckle. 2 balls of green flames danced in his eyes as he stared at Guokai below. Peak 8th rank supremacy? Not bad, not bad. It seems that you can strengthen my white bone banner again. His voice was filled with coldness and confidence. In his opinion, his opponent was a delicious delicacy that could strengthen his white bone banner. That was all. Many people trembled when they heard this and fear appeared on their faces. However, Guokai snorted coldly. Since he had already decided to challenge, he did not hesitate. In the next moment, an incomparable power erupted from his body. It was incomparably hot and his entire body was like a god of fire, extremely dazzling. The terrifying heat wave was like a tide that slapped in all directions, immediately causing everyone to retreat in shock. That aura was very terrifying. Although it was slightly inferior to the geniuses above, it was far superior to the others. From this point, it could be seen that Guokai had the qualifications to challenge. Guokai held 2 red iron rings in his hands and quickly collided in the air. The red rings were very special. They were about the size of a bowl and were extremely red. There were strange inscriptions carved on them. With a gentle wave, countless runes flashed and surrounded them. It was obvious that they were treasures. Clang. The red rings collided with a crisp sound, as if metal had collided. Not only that, during the collision, countless flames converged and formed a flame lizard that quickly rushed forward. The lizard was very large and its entire body was formed by flames. Its head was like a giant dragon's and was extremely ferocious. As soon as it appeared, it carried an extremely terrifying aura and quickly charged towards Ghostly. Haha, you're too naive. Do you think that your little flames can suppress me? Ghostly sneered. If it was Nangong Hao who attacked, he would naturally have to go all out. However, the young man in front of him was only at the peak of the 8th rank, which was far inferior to him. He did not take him seriously at all. He stretched out his palm, intending to grab something in front of him. Suddenly, the void cracked and a huge white bone claw appeared out of thin air, quickly slapping forward. The claw landed on the gigantic flame lizard, shattering its head. Countless flames were torn apart and scattered all over the ground. Guokai's pupils shrank. He didn't expect his all-out attack to be countered so quickly. With a cold snort, his expression was incomparably gloomy as he decided to use his ultimate move again. However, Ghostly did not give him the chance. After his attack succeeded, he waved his hand and a white bone banner appeared out of thin air. It immediately emanated an incomparably cold aura. Countless vengeful spirits and ghosts circled around it, a scene that would make one's scalp tingle. Brat, since you dare to challenge me, then obediently become my soul. Ghostly Ning laughed. His pale white hand grabbed the white bone banner and waved it forward. Instantly, countless vengeful spirits gathered, forming a huge skull that bit towards Guokai. Damn it, Scram! Seeing the skull rushing towards him, Guokai roared angrily. Flames bloomed all over his body, forming a flaming giant that blasted upwards. However, it was useless this time. The flames that he was so proud of had lost their luster at this moment. The white skull was extremely terrifying as it was not afraid of the flames. Not only that, the gloomy ghost aura on it quickly extinguished the flaming giant. What? It's not afraid of the flames? How is that possible? Guokai's pupils shrank. He didn't believe it at all because in his knowledge, ghosts were all afraid of flames. However, the current situation was the exact opposite. Ignorant fool, what do you know? Ghostly sneered, then used his strength again. Instantly, the white skull enveloped Guokai. Countless miserable cries rang out, piercing through the heavens and earth. In an instant, Guokai was swallowed until not even his bones were left. His soul was also extracted and integrated into the white bone banner, forming another vengeful spirit. Ghostly smiled and waved his hand, retrieving the white bone banner. The soul of an 8th heaven supremacy, not bad. Not bad. It's indeed delicious. Hearing those cold words, everyone's scalp tingled. Shocking, it was really too shocking. That was an 8th heaven supremacy martial artist, but he couldn't even withstand a single move. Could it be that these geniuses were already so powerful? Who else? Hurry up and come. Ghostly had tasted the sweetness and was naturally excited. His dark green eyes swept around, but no one dared to look at him. Everyone was speechless and the scene was silent. After a moment of silence, another person walked out of the crowd. It was a burly man. He was 2 meters tall and his body was as strong as an ox. His bronze skin shone with the radiance of strength under the sun. Qin Shan, a 8th heaven supremacy, had boundless strength. The person he challenged was not Ghostly, but the first leader of the Ravengale Hall, Feng Hudi. Seeing that it was not him, Ghostly snorted coldly, feeling extremely unhappy. When he saw that the other party was challenging Pink Butterfly, he immediately smiled sinisterly. Little Butterfly, can you give his soul to me later? Give it to you? Let you grow stronger? Feng Hudi snorted coldly. Feng Hudi, the first leader of the Ravengale Hall, was dressed in black armor. She was very beautiful, and there was a heroic spirit between her brows. She held a black spear in her hand, and she looked like a black demon king. Her beautiful eyes swept across the crowd and she said coldly, I'll give you one chance. Make your move. I advise you to go all out because you only have one chance. Brr. Below, the burly man roared angrily, and a terrifying power surged out from his body. His body, which was originally 2 meters tall, suddenly grew taller, and became a 3-meter giant. Not only that, but the muscles all over his body bulged and fine scales appeared on the surface, covering his entire body in an instant. In an instant, the burly man had become an extremely sinister monster. With a roar, the air exploded. With a stomp of his foot, countless air waves suddenly exploded, and his body was like a cannonball instantly shooting upwards. What terrifying power! He's already not weaker than a ninth heaven supremacy. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect such an expert to be hidden in the crowd. However, looking at this scene, Feng Hudi's exquisite face was extremely cold. Chapter 1381. Looking at this scene, Feng Hudi's delicate face was very cold. Then she held the black spear in her hand and stabbed it out. Blood spurted out and the scene froze in midair. A 3-meter-tall giant with shocking power tore apart the sky and shattered the earth. It was extremely terrifying. And at this moment, it was pierced by a black spear and nailed to the void. Blood dripped down from the spear tip and fell to the ground, creating countless blood flowers. Humph! Feng Hudi put away her spear and the giant body fell from the sky and smashed into the ground. Silence, complete silence. Everyone was silent. They did not expect the Ravengale Hall's first branch leader to be so powerful. One had to know that the other party did not reveal his strength at all. He did not even appear in front of everyone. But now his attack was like a bolt of lightning, directly shocking everyone. Not only the martial artists below, but even the other geniuses on the Octatic treasure chest game were shocked. They did not expect that the Ravengale Hall, which had always kept a low profile, would have such a powerful person. Ghost Lee's face was also ugly. His green eyes emitted a cold light. Soul Destroyer Spear. I did not expect you to cultivate the Soul Destroyer Spear. He was simply too shocked because the soul of the dead man had been completely destroyed. There was nothing left of him at all. Only a soul attack could cause such damage. But the other party did not use any soul attack at all. She only used a spear. Other than the Soul Destroyer Spear, he could not think of any other spear technique. You know quite a lot. But don't fight me when the time comes. Otherwise I will destroy all your souls with one spear. Feng Hudi snorted and put away her spear. Humph! Ghost Lee's expression was cold. The other party's spear technique seemed to have restrained his souls. But if they were to fight he would not be afraid. With Ghost Lee and Feng Hudi attacking one after another and killing a strong opponent in one move, the scene fell into silence again. And after this no one dared to challenge again. The 8 people on the stage were too powerful. They were not people they could compete with. Even the 8th highest peak Venerable could not withstand one move. If they went up they would only be courting death. Time passed slowly. The incense stick was about to burn out. But at this moment, a voice drifted over. How could I miss out on such a grand occasion? Those 8 in the arena, if you don't want to die, give me a spot so that I won't start a massacre. Although this voice was light as a feather, it contained boundless arrogance. Making one of the 8 sky prides on the stage withdraw. If this wasn't arrogance, then what was? Remember that the 8 people on stage were all top-notch heaven's favorites. Nobody could fight against them. But now there was someone who didn't care at all. He even dared to threaten them. This was beyond everyone's expectations. Therefore, in the next moment, everyone turned around wanting to see which madman dared to say such a thing. However, when they saw the figure behind them, they were all stunned. Hua Wufeng? How could it be him? Isn't he dead? What's going on? Could it be that he's not dead? Everyone was extremely shocked because the person behind him was none other than Lin Xian. Of course, his current name was Hua Wufeng. Everyone cried out in surprise. They didn't expect that this incomparably arrogant devil would appear again. Thus, everyone automatically opened up a path. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up as he strode forward. On the Octatic treasure chessboard, Nangong Hao and the others were stunned when they saw this. Especially Yu Luosha, her beautiful eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. What? Not dead? You're not dead? How is this possible? It's really you. Nangong Hao, Bloodhand, and the others were also extremely shocked. Not dead, you're not dead. Yu Luosha recovered from her initial shock. Then, her delicate face was filled with viciousness. Why didn't the 2 fire spirits come back? What did you do to them? Yu Luosha shouted coldly. She finally knew why the fire spirits didn't come back. It was because they weren't dead. Hua Wufeng's appearance also meant that the fire spirit's assassination had failed. However, Lin Xian sneered, "Come back? The dead can't come back." What? You killed them? Hearing this, Wuxia was extremely shocked and screamed. She couldn't help it. She was too shocked because she didn't believe that someone from the younger generation could kill the fire spirits. At this moment, not only Wuxia but Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, Ghostly, and the others were also shocked and couldn't believe it. Even they weren't confident that they could kill the fire spirits. However, Lin Xian had done it. This was indeed a huge blow to them. Humph, don't be so arrogant. I don't know what tricks you used to kill the two fire spirits. However, since you dared to kill them, you're definitely dead. Just you wait. Once the octatic treasure chessboard is over, you won't be able to escape. Wuxia's face was filled with viciousness. The other Sky Prides were also filled with murderous intent because not only did Lin Xian snatch the Blood Soul Stone, he also snatched all the treasures that they had won. Especially Nangong Hao, who had always been conceited and wanted to be above everyone else. However, Lin Xian had snatched his precious spiritual medicine. Wasn't that a slap to his face? At this moment, when he saw Lin Xian, his face was terrifyingly gloomy. Lin Xian didn't care about those murderous gazes. He looked to the front and said coldly, "If any of you retreat consciously, I can spare your lives. Otherwise, if I attack, I'm afraid you won't end up so well." How dare you? How arrogant. Kit, you're too arrogant. The Sky Prides on Lin Xian's stage were furious. Meanwhile, the surrounding crowd was extremely shocked. Perhaps only Lin Xian dared to speak to the Sky Prides in such a manner. Seeing that no one moved, Lin Xian glanced around coldly. Then he stretched out his finger. How about this? I'll challenge whoever I choose. Everyone was speechless. That was too arrogant. That was because the 8 people on the stage were all top-notch Sky Prides. Even if someone wanted to challenge them, they would have to combine their skills and see who they could restrain before making a move. However, Lin Xian didn't care at all. He even chose randomly. If that wasn't arrogance, then what was? Nangong Hao and the others were infuriated by Lin Xian's actions. However, no one said anything. That was because from what had happened before, Lin Xian's strength was definitely not weaker than theirs. At the very least, he could kill 2 fire spirits. One had to know that fire spirits were extremely special existences. They weren't humans to begin with. Instead, they were formed by flames. They didn't have a physical body. Physical attacks couldn't kill them at all. Soul attacks had no effect on them either. They couldn't figure out how Lin Xian had killed the fire spirits. However, they were certain that Lin Xian's strength was definitely not weaker than any of them. Therefore, facing Lin Xian's challenge, all of them were extremely nervous. I'll choose whoever Little Rooster points to. Lin Xian pointed at the 8 people. His words made Nangong Hao, Ghostly, and the others' faces turn black. It's you. Chapter 1382. I'll choose whoever Little Rooster points to. Lin Xian pointed at the 8 people. His words made Nangong Hao, Ghostly, and the others' faces turn black. It's you. Finally, Lin Xian pointed at a figure. Who was it? Everyone craned their necks and looked carefully. What? It's him. Then a series of exclamations sounded. It was the first leader of the Purple Demon Hall, Jianghu. Seeing that Jianghu was chosen, Nangong Hao and the others heaved a sigh of relief for some reason. The crowd was in an uproar. They didn't expect Lin Xian's final opponent to be Jianghu from the Purple Demon Hall. Jianghu, I didn't expect it to be him. He's an expert in soul power. His pair of purple demon eyes are extremely strange. Although Hua Wufeng's combat strength was strong, his soul power didn't seem to be outstanding. Now that he's up against Jianghu, I'm afraid he'll be in trouble. Indeed, Lin Xian had only displayed his lightning and ice attributes. He hadn't displayed his soul power. Therefore, no one knew how strong Lin Xian's soul power was. Everyone had different expressions. Jianghu's face was gloomy. He didn't expect that he would be the one to fight with Lin Xian. Jianghu's face was very ugly. He didn't expect Lin Xian to choose him. In the next moment, everyone's eyes were on him. Especially the other 7 geniuses on the platform. They were all looking at him with playful smiles on their faces. Feeling their gazes, Jianghu's face became even gloomier. To be honest, the Purple Demon Hall wasn't the top in the Black Dragon sect. At most, it was a mid-tier hall. Compared to Blood Rogue, Nangong Hao, and the others, he was slightly weaker. However, Lin Xian, who was in front of them, had dodged the encirclement of the elites from the various halls and had even killed 2 fire spirits. He knew that he couldn't achieve such a result. He was even more shocked when he saw that Lin Xian was full of energy. His aura was sharp and he didn't look tired at all. That was because he had sent an expert from the Purple Demon Hall yesterday. He was very proficient in illusions. Furthermore, that old man was a veteran of 100 battles. He would definitely find the best opportunity to strike. Even for geniuses like them, if they were to be ambushed, they would most likely fall for his illusions. At that time, although he would be able to escape, his soul power would definitely be severely damaged. Even if he didn't die, he would be severely injured. This was the power of the Purple Demon Hall. But now, it seemed that the other party didn't receive any damage at all. It was as if he hadn't been affected by the illusion. This caused Jianghu to be extremely shocked. He knew that there were only two possibilities. The first was that the other party was too terrifying, and the experts he sent out were killed before they could even use their illusions. If this was true, it meant that the other party's strength was far beyond his imagination. Even if he attacked with his full strength, he might not be able to resist. The second situation was that although the other party was hit by an illusion attack, they could easily break it, so they didn't suffer any injuries. If that was the case, it would be even more shocking. One had to know that the other party had already displayed a valiant fighting strength. If he also had an extremely strong soul force, then such a person would have no weakness. It could be said to be heaven-defying. Then it was even more impossible for him to attack, because even if his illusions were stronger than the purple-robed elders, he might not be able to do anything to the other party. After thinking about it, Jianghu felt bitter because he realized that no matter what the situation was, the other party was stronger than him. If he attacked, he would lose without a doubt. Based on the other party's previous form, no one could escape unscathed. They were either humiliated by him or killed on the spot. Thinking of this, Jianghu took a deep breath, and his face was terrifyingly dark. He didn't want to be killed by the other party, nor did he want to be pressed to the ground and kowtowed in front of everyone, so he decided to retreat. There's no need to compete. I'll give this position to you, Jianghu said in a low voice. Then his body swayed and he left the octatic treasure chest game. What? He retreated? Seeing this scene, everyone was stupefied, not daring to believe it. I'm not dreaming, am I? Jianghu actually took the initiative to retreat. Heavens! Has Hua Wufeng become so terrifying? Even the top prodigies don't dare to fight him. He retreated without a fight. Is Jianghu crazy? Everyone exclaimed and couldn't understand. The other 7 prodigies were also stunned, and their minds were blank. That was Jianghu. He was a top prodigy like them, and he specialized in illusionary attacks. It was very strange and impossible to guard against. Even they had to be extremely careful against such a person. Originally, they wanted to use this battle to find out more about Lin Shen's background, but they didn't expect Jianghu to retreat. He retreated without a fight. They didn't expect this outcome at all. Damn it, what is Jianghu doing? Bloodhand said coldly. Humph trash. Nangong Hao snorted in disdain, and his expression was full of disdain. He Ghostly laughed sinisterly and his eyes flickered. No one knew what he was thinking. The other prodigies had different expressions, but without exception, their eyes were full of disdain. Because to them Jianghu's actions were too cowardly. Not only did he embarrass the Purple Demon Hall, but he also embarrassed the entire Black Dragon sect. Damn trash, as timid as a mouse. Such a person doesn't deserve to stand with us. Hearing the disdainful voices of the other 7 prodigies, Jianghu's face darkened. He was so angry that his body trembled and his fists were clenched tightly. Those words were like poisonous thorns that pierced his heart, and he couldn't bear it. There was even a moment when he wanted to charge forward without a care. However, when he thought of the results of his analysis, he stopped himself and didn't go forward. Lin Shen was also very surprised. He looked at Jianghu in surprise, then nodded slightly. Interesting. Not bad, you can recognize the situation and know when to advance and retreat. You're not too stupid. In that case, I'll spare your life. After saying that, Lin Shen moved and went to the spot that Jianghu had vacated. He went up, he really went up. When the crowd saw Lin Shen go up to the octatic treasure chest game, they were all excited. To be honest, they had never heard of Lin Shen's name before, and they didn't know that this person existed. It wasn't until the Dark and Light convention, when he appeared in an extremely arrogant manner, that they learned of this person. After that, the other party's actions were even more shocking. First, he looked down on Nangong Hao and made him refine pills. Then the next day he killed the Shura Hall's elder. He even beat up the Blood Fiend Hall. Not only that, but after that, he also avoided the assassination attempts of various prodigies. It could be said that in just 2 days Lin Shen's reputation had soared, and even overshadowed those prodigies. Now that they saw him go up, they were even more excited. Although the previous conflict was intense, Lin Xian didn't directly fight with those prodigies, so they didn't know who was stronger and who was weaker. Chapter 1383. Now that they saw him enter the arena, they were even more excited. Although the conflict had been intense, Lin Xian had not directly fought with those sky prides. Therefore they did not know who was stronger and who was weaker. However, today the mystery would be revealed. Because in the octatic treasure chest game, those geniuses would definitely fight. At that time they would know who was the strongest among the geniuses. On the octatic treasure chest game, the other 7 geniuses snorted when they saw Lin Xian. All eyes fell on him, and their murderous intent was not concealed. On the other hand, Lin Xian didn't care at all. He swept his gaze around and said indifferently, "I advise the 7 of you to be sensible and back off quickly, lest you get killed when the time comes." "Kid, you're too arrogant. The octatic treasure chest game is not a place where you can behave atrociously. Although you were very arrogant before, that was because I didn't make a move. Now that you're facing me, I can crush you with one hand." Bloodhand's expression was cold as the sea of blood behind him surged. "I originally wanted to wait for the octatic treasure chest game to finish you off, but since you're in a hurry to die, it's good that you came up yourself. I'll kill you with my own hands. Kid, hand over the blood soul stone and kneel down to accept your death. I can give you a quick death." Yu Luosha's voice was cold as she stared at Lin Xian fiercely as if she wanted to tear him apart. "Ah, your soul belongs to me." The 7 geniuses all stared at Lin Xian and were ready to attack. At that moment the incense stick had completely burned out. The octatic treasure chest game released a bright light that completely enveloped Lin Xian and the others. Everyone's hearts were also in their mouths because they knew that the octatic treasure chest game had been completely activated. The octatic treasure chest game was extremely mysterious. Once it was activated, outsiders could not interfere at all. The 8 geniuses inside had to use themselves as chess pieces to attack. "I'll go first." Bloodhand shouted as his body emitted endless light. The blood-colored aura shot up into the sky like a long river of blood that came from the 9 heavens. At that moment, Bloodhand was extremely powerful. He also took a step forward and moved forward by 1 square. Suddenly, a chess piece appeared in front of him. It was an illusion formed by the octatic treasures chess game. It was a black ghost stone. After the Bloodhand moved, it quickly turned into a black-armored cultivator. His entire body was wrapped in an ice-cold black armor, and he looked exceptionally fierce. That biting cold aura caused the surrounding void to distort. The mysterious black-armored warrior did not wield any weapons. He simply swung his fists and punched forward. Boom. He threw out a punch, causing the void to tremble. The terrifying fist shadow shone in all directions and directly enveloped the bloody hand. At the same time, Snow Hand also roared, "Blood River 9 tremors, first tremor, get lost." He waved his palm, and a strong spiritual power surged, turning into a scarlet palm that slammed forward. A red light flashed and a pungent smell of blood filled the air. A terrifying force crashed into the black-armored cultivator, instantly piercing through him. In the next instant, the black-armored martial artist transformed into a beam of light, smearing into the octatic treasure chest game, vanishing from sight. As for Bloodhand, he had successfully taken a step forward. After this step, the entire octatic treasure chest game started to move. The chess pieces on the chessboard moved quickly, attacking the other 7 people. A black ghost stone turned into a pitch-black leopard. It had a pair of black wings on its back and it was extremely valiant, releasing a terrifying aura. Its 4 limbs jumped and it transformed into a beam of black light, quickly attacking Nangong Hao. The aura that it emitted caused the surrounding martial artists to be terrified. This was because they knew that the aura could easily kill a 9th heaven honorable. Nangong Hao snorted coldly, and his eyes were filled with disdain. Then, a ball of purple flames appeared on his palm. He waved his palm gently and countless purple flames jumped, forming a huge purple flame light palm that flew out quickly. The void trembled, and the terrifying body covered the sky, as if it was going to crush everything. Boom. The terrifying heat burned, and the black leopard was instantly burned to ashes. On the other side, ghostly wails and howls could be heard. Countless ghosts flew around quickly, and they surrounded a cold figure. Guili was like the king of ghosts. He brought countless ghosts with him, and he quickly fought with a white-armored martial artist in front of him. Soon he also finished off his opponent. Yu Luosha smiled and a folding fan appeared in her hand. She quickly opened it and countless peach blossom petals formed a human face. Human-faced peach blossom fan. In the next moment, the folding fan waved gently and pink fog surged out. It quickly floated to the front, tearing the black-armored man in front of her apart. Feng Hudi's expression was cold. She held a black spear, and her opponent was a white-robed martial artist. The battle was very simple. Feng Hudi only stabbed her spear once. Then she killed her opponent completely. Shadowless was even more impressive. He was like a ghost, silently killing his opponent in an instant. Gu Yuan, who was sent by the Southern Desolation ancient town, was also very skilled. He displayed powerful battle strength, and he forcefully shattered his opponent with a palm. In another corner, Lin Xian looked at the white figures that were slowly forming in front of him, and he narrowed his eyes. He had been with the dark red divine dragon for many years, and his attainments in array formations were very terrifying. Therefore he could sense that these figures were formed by the array formation, and they were very powerful. Ordinary ninth heaven supremacies were no match for them. However, Lin Xian did not take it to heart. He punched out and shattered his opponent. Then, his eyes swept across the surroundings. His goal was the mysterious crystal, so he had to find where it was first. Was it hidden in the octatic treasure chest game, or was it a reward for the final victor? However, in the next moment he understood. This was because he realized that the other 7 people were all heading towards the center of the octatic treasure chest game. It seemed that there was something there that attracted them. And the only thing that could attract the 7 of them was definitely that mysterious crystal. It seemed that the mysterious crystal should be in the center of this array formation. At that thought, Lin Xian did not hesitate and strode forward. With every step he took, a chess piece would transform into a terrifying existence and attack him. Moreover, he realized that the closer he got to the center, the stronger the transformed martial artists were. When the surrounding cultivators saw this, they all became excited. Exciting, too exciting. The 8 people on the stage were all top prodigies, and their skills were extremely terrifying. They had never seen this kind of battle before. Moreover, the Heaven sect would not usually make a move. But now they saw it. And it was 8 prodigies attacking at the same time. Look, Bloodhand and Ghostly are fighting. Everyone exclaimed, and they were very excited. Indeed, on the octatic treasure chest game, as they got closer to the center, the distance between them also got closer. Finally, someone could not help but make a move. Chapter 1384. Look, Bloodhand and Ghostly are fighting. Everyone exclaimed in excitement. Sure enough, as they got closer to the center of the octatic treasure chessboard, the distance between them shortened. Finally, someone couldn't help but make a move. Bloodhand was fighting with a black-armored warrior. Behind him, Ghostly took 3 steps forward and suddenly charged at Bloodhand. Ghosts wailed and wolves howled. A chilly wind blew. Ghostly held the white bone banner in his hand and waved it rapidly. Ghosts turned into materialized ferocious ghosts and pounced forward. The ferocious ghosts could easily tear the void apart with a casual pounce. Get lost! Bloodhand roared as a terrifying light burst out from his body. The blood-colored river behind him surged. With a wave of his hand, blood-colored palms blasted out in all directions, instantly sending the ferocious ghosts flying. Haha, give me your soul. Ghostly saw that his attack was sent flying, but he still quickly made a move. The white bone banner in his hand blew up countless chilly winds. A white claw reached out from it and grabbed at Bloodhand as if it wanted to tear it apart. Clang! Bloodhand's expression was cold. With a roar, he quickly pulled out a blood-colored long saber and slashed horizontally. A ray of blood-colored light splashed out like a long river. The terrifying blood-colored long saber blasted onto the white bone banner. It was like an ancient ferocious beast that erupted with terrifying power. The two collided, emitting the sound of metal and stone colliding. After one strike, the two were evenly matched. However, because Ghostly took 3 steps to kill Bloodhand, 3 black chess warriors appeared beside him and quickly charged at him. Umph! Ghostly snorted and quickly retreated. He no longer fought with Bloodhand and focused on dealing with the 3 black chess warriors. Because they were very close to the center of the octatic treasure chessboard, the black chess warriors that appeared here were also very terrifying. Moreover, with 3 of them working together, even Ghostly would have to put in some effort. From this, one could see the pattern of the array. Every time a warrior took a step forward, it would attract a chess warrior to attack. Previously, Ghostly took 3 steps forward, which naturally attracted 3 black chess warriors. On the other side, Feng Hudi and Yu Luosha were also fighting. The 2 of them fought fiercely and then quickly pulled away from each other. Up until now, no one had experienced a life-and-death battle. They were all just probing. After Lin Xian killed a few chess pieces, he finally encountered other sky prides. On his left was a handsome young man, Gu Yuan from the southern wasteland ancient town. When Gu Yuan saw Lin Xian rushing over from behind, his face immediately darkened. He was a member of the city lord's mansion. Previously, Lin Xian had beaten up the enforcers, completely disregarding the city lord's mansion. This was undoubtedly a slap to the city lord's mansion's face. As a prodigy of the city lord's mansion, how could Gu Yuan tolerate it? Therefore, when he saw Lin Xian, he naturally had to make a move. "Brat, you actually dared to attack the law enforcement team. Today I will teach you a good lesson. I'll let you know that there are some people you can't afford to offend." Gu Yuan's expression was ferocious as he quickly stabbed the long sword in his hand behind him. A sword light flashed like a meteor and quickly blasted towards Lin Xian. "Humph, a puny martial artist from the city lord's mansion also dares to clamor with me? It's more appropriate for your city lord to talk to me personally." Lin Xian snorted coldly, his expression full of disdain. Then he threw out a punch. The terrifying fist carried an unparalleled lightning as it illuminated the surroundings. The violent power crushed the entire void. This punch was too terrifying. The light was so dazzling that no one could open their eyes. Boom. The lightning fist fiercely smashed onto the opponent's sword chi, causing a huge explosion in the void. In an instant, the opponent's sword chi turned into fragments and scattered all over the ground. It was shattered? That's impossible. In front of him, Gu Yuan's eyes were like lightning. They were like two sword lights that carried an unparalleled light. He naturally saw the scene of the sword light being shattered and immediately screamed. Shocking. It was simply too shocking. He didn't expect the opponent's fist to be so powerful that it could shatter his sword light. Not only that, the fist didn't suffer any injuries and was still rapidly charging towards him. Damn it, get lost. Gu Yuan's pupils shrank as he roared crazily. He quickly condensed his defensive power and activated the armor on his body. However, the punch still landed solidly on his body, causing him to take 5 steps back. Immediately, 5 chess piece warriors quickly formed and charged towards him. On the other hand, Lin Xian frowned. He sensed that most of the force of his punch had been neutralized by the formation the moment his fist landed on the man's body. Only a small portion of the force had landed on the man's body. Therefore, the opponent only took 5 steps back. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, this punch would have definitely turned the opponent into a bloody mist. Reducing the damage? This formation was quite interesting. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He realized that this octatic treasure chess game was more magical than he had imagined. The method of reducing the damage was undoubtedly to protect the people in the formation. It seemed that it wasn't easy to kill people in the chess game. However, Lin Xian didn't pay too much attention to it. It didn't make any difference to him whether he killed the opponent or not. Because in his eyes, these people were all ants. There was no difference between being alive and being dead. The only thing he paid attention to was the mysterious crystal in the center. Therefore, in the next moment, he withdrew his fist and turned to look forward. Die. Gu Yuan, who was beside him, was in a sorry state after being pushed back. Not only that, he also suffered internal injuries and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. After killing the 5 chess piece warriors around him with difficulty, Gu Yuan stared fiercely at Lin Xian with a vicious look in his eyes. Damn it! Damn it! The other party had actually forced her to retreat and even injured her. Moreover, everyone had seen this scene, which was unbearable for him. As a genius of the city governor's mansion, he thought that he wasn't inferior to the geniuses of the other halls. This time he was full of confidence and wanted to obtain the mysterious crystal. Therefore he didn't take Lin Xian seriously at all. When they met just now, a murderous intent rose in his heart. He wanted to make Lin Xian embarrass himself in front of everyone so that he could save the face of the city governor's mansion's law enforcement team. However, he didn't expect that as soon as they exchanged blows, he realized that he was wrong. Lin Xian's strength was far beyond his imagination, so much so that he was defeated in a sorry state. Kid, you will pay for your actions. After I obtain the mysterious crystal, I will definitely kill you. Gu Yuan's body was full of murderous intent. He had decided that after obtaining the mysterious crystal, he would definitely not let Lin Xian off. When the surrounding warriors saw this scene, they were all terrified. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful that he could push Gu Yuan back with one punch. One should know that the previous geniuses were just testing each other. They were evenly matched and there was no obvious winner or loser. However, Lin Xian's side was different. That punch had directly pushed Gu Yuan back. This undoubtedly showed that Lin Xian's strength was above Gu Yuan's. This was also the first time a genius had a winner. Chapter 1385. The previous battles between the Sky Prides were merely probing each other. They were evenly matched and there was no clear winner or loser. However, Lin Xian's side was different. His punch had forced Gu Yuan to retreat. This undoubtedly meant that Lin Xian's strength was above Gu Yuan's. This was also the first time a victor had been decided between two Sky Prides. The surrounding Sky Prides were also shocked. Their faces darkened when they saw this scene. Humph! Nangong Hao snorted coldly. However, he did not look relaxed. Blood Hand's expression was solemn. He realized that his opponent's strength had once again exceeded his imagination. He had to be careful. The others looked ferocious while Lin Xian looked calm. However, he frowned in the next moment and suddenly threw a punch to his right. Get lost. Everyone was stunned. They did not know what he was doing because there was clearly no one on his right. However, they were all stunned very soon. That was because when Lin Xian threw a punch, a figure quickly appeared in the void on his right and quickly retreated. Shadowless, it was Shadowless who attacked. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect the King of Assassins to assassinate Lin Xian at the critical moment and almost succeed. However, the other Sky Pride's pupils constricted and their expressions became extremely solemn. They did not expect Lin Xian to be able to discover Shadowless's tracks and force him to retreat. This was too shocking. One had to know that Shadowless's assassination skills were extremely terrifying. Even they had a headache dealing with it. Many people could not even discover Shadowless and could only counterattack at the moment when he attacked. But now, Lin Xian had discovered Shadowless and attacked him when he was about 10 meters away, forcing him to retreat. Didn't this mean that he had discovered Shadowless's existence in advance? Damn it, how did this guy do it? He actually discovered Shadowless's existence. The Sky Prides were very confused. Meanwhile, Shadowless's face darkened. He did not expect Lin Xian to be able to discover his tracks and attack so decisively. He did not even have the chance to get close to Lin Xian. Who is this guy? How did he discover me? He was too shocked. Lin Xian's sharpness was beyond his expectations. Moreover, this had never happened before. One had to know that he was not called the King of Assassins for nothing. He had never failed before. Even those with higher cultivation than him had been successfully assassinated by him. That was why he was called the King of Assassins. However, he had failed now, and he had failed at the hands of a young man who was younger than him. He could not believe it. But little did he know that his bit of cultivation was not even worth an ant in Lin Xian's eyes. One had to know that although Shadowless was powerful, he was only equivalent to those 5-star assassins that Lin Xian had brought along. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was an existence that even Luo Bingshan would tremble upon seeing. Shadowless is Shadowless. 1. The others didn't know about this and Shadowless didn't either. His expression was solemn as he quickly tried to figure out how the other party had discovered him. Therefore, he could only give up on assassinating Lin Xian and look for other prey. Next, everyone tried again. However, no one dared to provoke Lin Xian. Because of the previous 2 attacks, they knew that Lin Xian's strength was more terrifying than they had imagined. Even the King of Assassins, Shadowless, could not get close. This was undoubtedly a warning. Finally, after a series of battles, everyone arrived at the central area. Next, please place your bets. At this moment, a low voice came from the octatic treasure chessboard. The voice was cold and emotionless like a machine. Hearing this voice, Lin Xian was stunned. The other prodigies were expressionless. They quickly took out the treasures they had prepared from their storage rings and placed them in front of them. Lin Xian was stunned for a moment. Then he understood that this was something like a bet. Therefore, Lin Xian took out something from his storage ring. It was an Earth Street treasured long blade. Seeing this long blade, everyone had different expressions. Shadow's face darkened and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This was because the long blade Lin Xian took out was the one he had bought from the auction. However, it was later snatched away by Lin Xian. That was a treasured blade. He had spent millions of spiritual stones to buy it. He did not expect it to be snatched away by Lin Xian. Now Lin Xian was using it as a bet. This was infuriating. Moreover, what made him even angrier was that if he had that long blade now, his strength would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. If that was the case, he would definitely succeed in assassinating Lin Xian. However, now that everything was gone, he could only watch helplessly. The other prodigies' faces darkened as well. This was because Lin Xian had not only snatched that one item. All the treasures they had bought from the auction had been snatched away by Lin Xian. This time, seeing Lin Xian take out an item from the auction, their faces were terrifyingly dark. Yu Luosha gritted her teeth and said, "Kid, do you dare to take out the Blood Soul Stone as a bet? Don't even think about the Blood Soul Stone. I've already absorbed all of it," Lin Xian said calmly. "I'm going to kill you." Hearing this, her face turned pale and she stomped her feet. She wanted nothing more than to pounce on Lin Xian and kill him right now. However, she did not have the chance because the octatic treasure chest game changed again. Under the feet of Lin Xian and the other prodigies, balls of light were emitted and enveloped all of them. Then the light around them dimmed as if they had arrived in a special space. Just as Lin Xian was about to investigate, the space in front of him rippled and another figure appeared. It was a handsome young man in a robe. He had an arrogant expression on his face as if he did not care about anyone. Nangong Hao. Lin Xian smiled faintly when he saw that figure. When Nangong Hao saw Lin Xian, he was stunned at first. Then he revealed a sinister smile. "Ha! Kid, I have to say that your luck is really bad. You actually met me on your first try. Very well, let me send you on your way. I'll let you know the consequences of provoking me." Nangong Hao's voice was sinister and his eyes were filled with killing intent. He did not have a good impression of Lin Xian in front of him. Not only did Lin Xian snatch his spiritual medicine, but he also stepped on his head. This was something that the arrogant him could not tolerate. Lin Xian directly ignored him. He walked in all directions and said with a frown, "What is this place? Is this a martial arts competition? Only the winner can walk out?" Lin Xian did not understand. However, from the looks of it, the 8 of them should have been divided into many groups and competed with each other. Only the winner could walk out successfully and proceed to the next step. As for why he and Nangong Hao were placed together, Lin Xian did not understand yet. Perhaps it was random distribution or perhaps it was related to the stakes. Nangong Hao's eyes were sinister and his expression was cold. His entire body emitted a murderous aura, but he did not attack. Chapter 1386. However, in the next moment he understood. After the 2 of them entered, the void fluctuated again, and another figure appeared. It was a human figure, or more precisely, a shadow. It was only a vague outline, and even his face could not be seen clearly. Only a low voice could be heard. 2 people were assigned to each other. Only the winner could proceed to the next round, and the loser would be eliminated. The voice was also cold, mechanical, and emotionless. The shadow continued, "This time we'll be using flames. Whoever has the strongest eye of fire will be the winner." What? A competition of flames? Lin Xian was confused. He had never seen such a competition before. When Nangong Hao heard this, he burst out laughing. "Ah! The heavens are helping me. Boy, you dare to compete with me in flames? You're dead." He was overjoyed. Lin Xian's performance had shocked him. His strength was completely beyond his expectations. Therefore he was very worried at first. He was afraid that the competition would be a direct fight. Because if that was the case, he really didn't have much confidence in winning. But now, the competition was actually a competition of flames. This made him very happy. Among the 7 geniuses, he was a member of the Divine Pill Hall. Moreover, among the fire-based martial artists, no one had a stronger flame than him. Nangong Hao was even confident that, except for the mysterious fire spirit, no one could beat his flame. Although his opponent was mysterious, from the strength that he had displayed, he could tell that his opponent had the thunder and ice attributes. He definitely did not have the fire attribute. Therefore, the flame that his opponent had condensed with spiritual power was just an ordinary flame. It was definitely not comparable to the flame in his hand. Lin Xian also grinned. Competing with him in flames? What a death-seeking question. Even the 2 terrifying fire spirits were burned to ashes by his black flame martial soul. One could imagine how powerful his black flame martial soul was. Now, they were competing with flames? Wasn't this giving him points? Looking at Nangong Hao's arrogant look, Lin Xian asked with a smile, "You seem to be very happy? Kid, are you an idiot?" Nangong Hao sneered. "I'm the leader of the Divine Pill Hall, and I have an extremely powerful flame. Moreover, I have a flame martial spirit. What do you have to compete with me? Other than a natural fire spirit, no one else in the younger generation has a stronger flame than me." Nangong Hao's voice was sonorous, and his words were full of confidence. However, Lin Xian smiled disdainfully, "So you're saying that you still can't compare to Huoling? Even the 2 fire spirits were killed by me, let alone you. I really don't know what you're so happy about. Stop trying to scare me. Although I don't know how the two fire spirits disappeared, I think it's definitely not caused by your true strength. Moreover, I admit that you're strong, but what we're competing in here is not strength but flames. Do you have a flame martial spirit? Do you have a deviant flame? You have nothing. You still dare to be arrogant here? Brat, I'll let you know what the difference between heaven and earth is. Nangong Hao's expression was arrogant, and even his nostrils were almost in the sky. In the next moment, he snorted coldly and countless purple flames surged out from his body, forming a purple flame armor on his body. Brat, listen carefully. This is the Purple River spiritual fire, which came from underground and was formed after thousands of years of nurturing. Even a 9th-level honorable couldn't withstand a trace of my flame, let alone you. You'd better admit defeat obediently, because the flame that you condensed with your spiritual power is nothing in front of me. Nangong Hao looked up to the sky and laughed. He was like a fire god looking down at Lin Xian. Lord Array Spirit, quickly kick him out. Anyway, this brat is wasting time here. Seeing Nangong Hao's smug look, Lin Xian shook his head slightly. What a fool. In the next moment he snapped his fingers and a black flame appeared on his index finger. The flame was deep, and as soon as it appeared, the surrounding void was scorched and distorted. Not only that, but there was also an extremely hot energy accompanying the black flame. Even the purple flame on Nangong Hao's body dimmed instantly, as if it was frightened. Feeling the change in the purple flame on his body, Nangong Hao's expression changed drastically. In the next moment he looked at Lin Xian and screamed. Impossible. What kind of flame is this? It can actually scare my Purple River spiritual fire? Brat, how did you do it? He was stunned, really stunned. His opponent actually had a black flame which really surprised him. Moreover, from the aura that was emitted, he knew that it was definitely not a flame condensed with spiritual power, but a kind of strange flame. It was even more terrifying than his Purple River spiritual fire, because when the purple flame appeared, the purple flame on his body dimmed instantly. This kind of thing had never happened before. Even when he faced the fire spirit, it had never happened before. Damn it, impossible. I don't believe it. How can you have such a magical flame? Aren't you an ice-based martial artist? How can you have a flame? How can ice and fire exist in a person's body at the same time? Nangong Hao screamed crazily. Then, as if he had thought of something, he looked in front of him in shock. Could it be the black dragon flame on the sect leader? Thinking of this, his body trembled. If it was really the black dragon sect leader's flame, he would definitely lose. No matter how powerful his Purple River spiritual fire was, it could not be compared to the black dragon flame. Lin Xian snorted coldly and did not explain. It was better for him to misunderstand. However, after Nangong Hao recovered from his shock, he shook his head crazily. No, it's not the black dragon flame. I've seen the sect leader's flame before. Although it's also black, its aura is different. Brat, what kind of flame is this? Trash like you is not qualified to know the name of this flame. Lin Xian snorted coldly and shook his head. Die. Nangong Hao's expression was ferocious. He clenched his fists and his entire body trembled. Was he being looked down upon? No one had ever dared to look down on him. This was intolerable. However, seeing the black flame in his opponent's hand, Nangong Hao hesitated again. That flame was too terrifying. He was not confident that he could withstand it. However, at this moment the cold voice sounded again. The winner has been decided. After saying that, Lin Xian's feet shone and he instantly returned to the octatic treasure chess game. In fact, when Lin Xian entered the special space, the other Sky Prides had also entered the special space to fight. The content of each battle was different. Therefore, before these Sky Prides entered, they did not know who they would be fighting and what they would be fighting about. Chapter 1387. In fact, when Lin Xian entered the special space, the other Sky Prides had also entered the special space to fight. The content of each battle was different. Therefore, before these Sky Prides entered, they did not know who they would be fighting and what they would be fighting about. However, it did not take long for the outcome to be decided. The three victors were Yu Luosha, Blood Hand, and Shadowless. As for Feng Huidi, Guili, and Guyuan, they had all failed. The three of them had ugly expressions. They retreated to the side and could not get close to the center at all. The remaining three did not relax because this was only the first round and had not reached the end. They had to defeat everyone to obtain the mysterious crystal. In the next moment, the three of them looked to the side because they realized that Lin Xian and Nangong Hao had not come out yet. I didn't expect that kid to be in the same space as Nangong Hao. I'm afraid he's doomed this time, Shadowless said in a deep voice. Humph. That kid got lucky. If I had met him, I would have killed him myself. Yu Luosha snorted coldly. Blood Hand, on the other hand, had a cold expression. Nangong Hao is very powerful and not easy to deal with. Looks like I have to be 120% focused in the next round. In their opinion, Nangong Hao would definitely be the winner because he was too powerful. Even they did not have the confidence to defeat him. Not to mention Lin Xian. Soon there was a flash of light and a figure appeared. He's out. Everyone took a deep breath and looked over. However, they were soon stunned on the spot. How could it be him? How is this possible? Everyone was stunned because they realized that the first person to come out was Lin Xian. And the first one to come out would be the winner. They did not expect that the winner would be Lin Xian. Damn it, how is this possible? How could it be him? Everyone was shocked. The martial artists who were watching from afar exclaimed. They knew how powerful Nangong Hao was. He was even qualified to be the number one among the younger generation. However, he had been defeated. He had been defeated by a young man who was younger and even more arrogant than him. What exactly were they competing for? Nangong Hao had actually lost. Gui Li, Feng Hudi and the others were shocked. They couldn't imagine what kind of situation could defeat Nangong Hao. Gu Feng's expression was also cold. He coldly snorted, "Humph, it must be Han Bing from the competition." Nangong Hao is a fire attribute martial artist. Naturally, he is not proficient in the ice attribute. That's why he lost. Or maybe it's lightning. That brat is also a thunder attribute martial artist, Bloodhand said in a deep voice. Yes, that must be it. It must be that kid's field of expertise. Otherwise, Nangong Hao wouldn't have lost. These people kept hypnotizing themselves to comfort their shocked hearts. Lin Xian sneered in his heart. He took a step forward and stood at the front with his hands behind his back. On the other hand, Nangong Hao's face was terrifyingly dark. It was as if he had eaten a dead rat. He reluctantly went to the rear. At this moment, Gu Yuan quickly asked, "Nangong Hao, what exactly did you compete in? How could he lose?" He could not believe that the winner would actually be Lin Xian. Moreover, he had just lost to Lin Xian, so he wanted to know the truth of the matter even more. However, Nangong Hao coldly snorted and did not say a word. How could he say it out loud? They competed in the flame that he was best at. Losing in the field that he was best at, he would never say such a thing even if he was beaten to death because he could not afford to lose face. Seeing Nangong Hao's expression, everyone's heart sank. They realized that things might be worse than they had imagined. However, they did not have the time to think too much because soon, one of the three of them would be facing Lin Xian. The treasures that their opponents had used as collateral now belonged to them. At this moment, they were floating in front of them, constantly floating and being distributed. In the next moment, a light flashed and Lin Xian and the other three disappeared. It was a dark space again and the light was flickering. Lin Xian's figure flashed. However, this time he did not look around because even if he did, he would not be able to find anything. He might as well wait for the competition. This time, his opponent was Shadowless. When Shadowless saw Lin Xian, his expression instantly turned ugly. One had to know that he had been knocked back by Lin Xian's punch and even suffered internal injuries. Now that he saw his opponent, his heart could not help but tremble. Damn it, please don't let me fight him directly. Shadowless prayed in his heart. If they fought directly, he did not have the confidence to defeat his opponent. It would be better to compete in something that he was best at. Next to him, a blurry figure appeared. Instantly, a cold voice was heard. This time we'll compete in speed. What? Speed? Hearing this, Shadowless, who had always been calm, jumped up in joy. Speed, that was what he was best at. As an assassin, he was best at concealment, speed, and timing. Only by mastering these three could one become an excellent assassin. Furthermore, he was the king of assassins, so his speed was needless to say. Perhaps even Nangong Hao and Blood Rogue could not catch up to him. Thinking of this, he grinned. It seemed that even the heavens were helping him. Ah, kid, you're dead. Competing in speed with me, you have no chance at all. Although I don't know how you found me before, I will definitely take revenge this time. Just wait to admit defeat. Shadowless sneered and swore to kill his opponent. Lin Xian also shook his head in disdain. As expected, these disciples of the Black Dragon cult are all arrogant and have never seen the real world. Competing in speed with him was courting death. One had to know that he had the illusory demonic steps and the wind and thunder wings. His speed could be said to be extremely fast, even comparable to a half-step king. In addition, he also had the sea god's ice. That terrifying cold air could definitely slow down the speed of the martial artists around him to the extreme, even slower than a snail. Of course, there was no need to use the sea god's ice to deal with Shadowless. He could definitely kill him with just his movement technique. In the dark space, the void rippled and two rays of light appeared on both sides, floating in the void. The distance between the two rays of light was not long, only 10 feet. At this moment, a cold voice sounded, "Run back and forth between the two rays of light for a total of 10,000 times. Whoever finishes first wins." Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, a distance of 10 feet was just a blink of an eye for them. However, to run 10,000 times while maintaining a high speed was quite challenging. Shadowless sneered, "Kid, just wait for your death." Then the two stood on the same side, and as the cold voice sounded, the two started to move. Whoosh! The two turned into lightning phantoms and moved quickly. They were extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, they had already completed 10 times. Chapter 1388. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two of them turned into lightning phantoms and moved quickly. In the blink of an eye, they had completed dozens of rounds. If there were martial artists here, they would definitely scream. Teleportation. This was teleportation. The two of them were so fast that they left behind afterimages in the air. Time passed bit by bit. Not only did they not slow down, they even sped up. One had to admit that it was indeed shocking. 3,000 rounds is enough. There are still 7,000 rounds left. Humph, he dares to compete with me in speed. That kid is definitely dead. Shadowless snorted in his heart. The next moment, his pupils constricted because he found that Lin Xian suddenly appeared and stopped beside him. What's going on? Why did he stop? Shadowless was puzzled. Humph, what a piece of trash. He can't even take 3,000 rounds? It seems that I overestimated him. Shadowless sneered in his heart and became even more proud. Then he sped up and moved quickly. However, at this moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded. The competition is over. The winner has been decided. What? It's over? In the air, Shadowless was stunned and his body appeared. His mind went blank and he could not believe his ears. What? It's over? How is that possible? I still have more than 7,000 rounds left. Shadowless shouted in exasperation. He thought that there was something wrong with the formation spirit, but soon his body trembled and his voice stopped abruptly. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Could it be that the kid has finished? How is that possible? How can he be so fast? Shadowless was extremely shocked. Now, he understood that the reason why Lin Xian stopped running was not because he was exhausted, but because he had finished running. However, he could not believe it at all. One had to know that he had only run 3,000 rounds at that time, and Lin Xian had already run 10,000 rounds. That was a difference of 3 times. Who could be 3 times faster than him in terms of speed? Perhaps even a half-step king could not do that. Unless it was a true king. However, Lin Xian's cultivation was only at the 8th level of the Venerable Realm, which was 1 level lower than his, but his speed was so fast. No. That's impossible. Shadowless seemed to have been struck by lightning. His mind went blank and he could not believe it. Even his expression became dull because he had suffered a great blow. Whoosh whoosh. 2 rays of light flashed and Lin Xian and Shadowless were forcefully sent out of the space. Then the two of them appeared on the octatic treasure chest set. What's wrong? Who won? As soon as Lin Xian and Yi Shiwen appeared, the gazes of the surrounding prodigies locked onto them. Countless cultivators below even craned their necks, their faces filled with anticipation. In the next moment, Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, and the other geniuses were all shocked because they found that Shadowless's eyes were lifeless. He stood there like a puppet, and his eyes had lost their luster. It can't be. His aura is so weak. Could he be seriously injured? Blood Hand frowned. Could it be that they are going to have a direct duel this time? Yu Luocha's expression was grave. Behind them, Nangong Hao, Guili, and the others were also shocked. They knew how strong Shadowless was. Although he had been punched by Lin Xian, they should be evenly matched if they really fought. But now it seemed like Shadowless had lost his soul. Damn it, what the hell happened? Shadowless, say something. What exactly are you guys competing in? Could it be that you're seriously injured? Many people shouted coldly, wanting to know the inside story. However, Shadowless still refused to listen and remained rooted to the ground. Who's next? Lin Xian took another step forward and asked indifferently. Hearing Lin Xian's words, Yu Luocha snorted coldly and retreated to the side. Obviously he had lost the duel with Blood Hand. Kid, I didn't expect you to be able to make it this far. But against me you have no chance of winning. Blood Hand's expression was cold and he was very confident. Let's wait until you come out. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. Those two guys from before were also very arrogant, but you've seen how they are now. I hope you'll be better than them when you come out later. Everyone had failed and only Lin Xian and Blood Hand were left. In the next moment the two of them disappeared again. This time the duel was very direct. It was a direct duel. Blood Hand roared excitedly. He was the #1 division leader of the Blood Fiend Hall and was a true battle maniac. If he was asked to compete in other things he really wouldn't be willing. A direct duel was the most suitable choice for him. Kid, I'll split you in half later and let you know how powerful I am. Of course, if you can obediently hand over the Blood Soul Stone, I'll take your life and let you lose with dignity. Blood Hand's blood aura bloomed like a powerful god of war, looking disdainfully at everyone. Lin Xian said indifferently, I wanted to play with you, but if it's a direct duel, then I'll finish you quickly. Arrogant. Kid, since you're so stubborn then die for me. Blood Hand roared and a blood-red river appeared behind him. Blood River 9 tremors in unison. In the next moment he pushed out both palms and 9 blood-red palms rushed out quickly, blasting towards Lin Xian. For a moment the entire void trembled rapidly, unable to withstand this power. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed, and his palms quickly formed a seal. Firmament 9 changes, Zhuyan change. As the palms fell, a huge red ape appeared. Then, the red ape roared into the sky, and with a shake of its arms, it tore the 9 blood-red palms in front of it into pieces. What? This is impossible. Blood Hand's eyes narrowed and he screamed in disbelief. That was his strongest attack, and the 9 palms could even kill a few 9th Heaven supremacies. However, at this moment, it had been torn apart so easily. How could he believe this? However, what was even more frightening was yet to come. The red ape smashed the 9 palms with a punch, then lifted its huge foot and stomped towards Blood Hand. Rumble. The void collapsed and the ground sank. This foot was extremely terrifying and it directly created a black hole. No. Blood Hand's face was filled with fear, and he no longer had the arrogance from before. In front of this power he was like an ant that could be swallowed at any time. Boom. The huge foot landed and Blood Hand was sent flying. This was even after the octatic treasure chest set had reduced its power by 90%. Otherwise, this foot would have turned him into minced meat. However, even with only 10% of its power left, it was not something that Blood Hand could resist. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. In the outside world, after seeing Lin Xian and Blood Hand's figures disappear, the crowd immediately started discussing intensely. This was because this was the final battle, and the winner would not only obtain the treasures that the others had bet on, but also a mysterious crystal. Therefore they were very concerned about this outcome. Many people even analyzed and discussed in detail, guessing who the final winner would be. I guess it must be Blood Hand. That guy is a battle maniac and he's too terrifying. I'm afraid even Nangong Hao might not be able to suppress him. Chapter 1389. I'm guessing it must be Blood Rogue. That guy is a battle maniac. He's terrifying. Even Nangong Hao might not be able to suppress him. Of course. Blood Rogue is the #1 among the younger generation. The disciples from Blood Fiend Hall were confident. It's hard to say. Hua Wufeng is very strange. He defeated Nangong Hao, Shadowless and the rest. His strength is extremely strong. Who knows if he will create another miracle this time. What a joke. That guy must be lucky to have made it this far. Otherwise, he would have been defeated long ago. That's right. Just wait. My Lord Blood Hand will be able to kill him with a single palm strike. Are you out of your mind? He's not on the same level as our Lord Blood Rogue. The martial artist from Blood Fiend Hall sneered. Then someone exclaimed, Look, someone's coming out. All of a sudden, everyone stopped discussing and focused their attention on the scene in front of them. Nangong Hao, Ghostly and the rest held their breaths. When the first figure appeared, everyone was stunned. What? Why is it him again? Everyone was shocked when they realized that the first person to come out was Lin Xian again. Heavens, this guy is too powerful. He even defeated Blood Rogue? Dark Horse, he's definitely the biggest dark horse in our Saint sect. Everyone exclaimed. The disciples from Blood Fiend Hall were in despair. Impossible, he can't win. How can he defeat Lord Blood Rogue? Dream, I must be dreaming. Heavens, can anyone tell me what's going on? Many people screamed. Nangong Hao, Yu Luosha and the rest looked cold. The result was beyond their expectations. They did not believe that Lin Xian could last until the end and win first place. Why is this guy so lucky? He always manages to win. Yeah, I wonder what they're competing for this time. Ghostly and the rest discussed in low voices. Their voices were filled with hatred. Lin Xian smiled in disdain. He was too lazy to explain. In the next moment, the void trembled and Blood Rogue appeared. However, as soon as he appeared, his body swayed and he knelt on the ground, vomiting blood. What? He's injured. How is that possible? Why is he so severely injured? Nangong Hao, Yu Luosha, Ghostly and the rest were shocked. They originally thought that Lin Xian was just lucky to win because he was competing in something that Blood Rogue was not good at. However, it seemed that was not the case. Looking at Blood Hand's appearance, it was as if he had gone through a huge battle. They could not believe that Blood Rogue's injuries were caused by Lin Xian Blood Rogue. Impossible. Why was Blood Hand injured by that brat? 2. Course. Lin Xian reached out and grabbed it. He immediately felt a very pure energy contained within. That's the mysterious crystal? Lin Xian raised his eyebrows in surprise. However, he did not absorb it. Instead, he kept it in his storage ring. Seeing this, Nangong Hao, Ghostly, Yu Luosha and the rest narrowed their eyes. Then their breathing became heavy. He did not absorb it. Everyone's heart pounded wildly. Their eyes burned with passion. If they had obtained it, they would have absorbed it immediately to increase their strength in preparation for the next battle. But Huang Xiaolong did not absorb it at all. Instead, he kept it. This meant that Huang Xiaolong's strength would not increase. This gave them great hope. There were a total of 3 rounds in this competition. In other words, as long as they worked together to suppress Lin Xian in the remaining 2 rounds, there was still a chance for them to obtain the white crystal. Moreover, as long as they obtained the white crystal, they would immediately absorb it and their strength would increase by a large margin. After the Octatic Treasures chess game, they could even capture Lin Xian and take the mysterious crystal and Blood Soul Stone from his storage ring. Thinking of this, everyone began to tremble with excitement. Lin Xian saw their expressions and sneered. The reason why he did not immediately consume the mysterious crystal was that he was very doubtful. This was because the effect of the improvement was too shocking. Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, and the others were still small martial artists in the spirit-transforming realm half a year ago. However, after absorbing the mysterious crystal, they directly reached the 9th heaven of the venerable realm. The change could be said to be the difference between heaven and earth. Lin Xian had never heard of such a thing. Moreover, he could not guarantee that there would be no side effects after absorbing it. Therefore, he would wait until after the Octatic Treasures chess game and study it properly. As for these people, they wanted to snatch the mysterious crystal? That was simply impossible. Lin Xian was quite confident about that. In the next moment, a light flashed and everyone returned to their original positions. The second round began. The surrounding martial artists settled down again and watched carefully. However, their hearts were still in turmoil because the result of the previous round was indeed beyond their expectations. They did not expect that the final winner would be Lin Xian. A guy who had only appeared 3 days ago actually defeated Nangong Hao and the other geniuses to win first place. 3 days ago they would not believe that someone would discuss such a thing. But now it really happened. In front, the second round of the Octatic Treasures chess game began. However, this time, everyone changed their strategy because they realized that no one was a match for Lin Xian in a one-on-one battle. Therefore, these people decided to join forces. Blood Hand and Feng Huti joined forces and formed a powerful attack that charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian quickly formed a seal with his palms. Immediately, a huge Qiongqi flew out from his fingertips and pounced forward, forcing the 2 of them back. What? The 2 of them were shocked. Impossible? How did he do it? Seeing this scene, everyone's scalps went numb. Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, and the others' faces were gloomy. Impossible, I don't believe it's not true. How can he be so powerful? These people counterattacked crazily. Outside the chessboard, the martial artists were even more shocked. Even the mysterious city lord who was hiding in the dark frowned. Impossible, this kid is obviously only at the 8th heaven, but his strength is far beyond Nangong Hao and the others. This doesn't make sense. What's going on with him? How can he have such powerful combat strength? The city lord frowned. He even began to suspect Lin Xian's identity. Soon the second round ended. Lin Xian still won first place and obtained another mysterious crystal. Chapter 1390. Nangong Hao Shueshou and the others gritted their teeth. They were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. That was a mysterious crystal. If they could get their hands on one, they might be able to reach the advanced stage or even the peak stage of the 9th level of heaven. Then they would become the most dazzling existence among the younger generation. However, that beautiful hope had been shattered, and it was all because of this hateful brat in front of him. The opponent was too terrifying. He forced everyone to retreat and took first place. I don't believe it, I don't believe it. Next time let's add more people. I don't believe that the bastard can fight against 3 of us. Nangong Hao gritted his teeth. Yes, let's work together. Let's put aside our conflicts and subdue the bastard first. Yu Luosha's face was also cold. This time they came to an agreement. Yu Luosha, Nangong Hao and Feng Huidi would work together to kill Lin Xian. However, this time Lin Xian didn't fight them head-on, because he sensed that someone was spying on him. So, in order to not expose his identity, he decided to hide his abilities. He had to at least get his hands on the last mysterious crystal. Then, even if his identity was exposed, it wouldn't matter. Thus, in the end, Lin Xian quickly swam away and did not fight against them at all. Damn it. Yu Luosha gritted her teeth. This is so infuriating. Nangong Hao roared crazily. When the 3 of them worked together, they were extremely powerful. Nobody could fight against them. However, the opponent changed his strategy and didn't fight them. Instead, he walked around them quickly. This made them feel like they were punching cotton. They didn't know where to start and they couldn't use their strength. In the end, the last mysterious crystal was obtained by Lin Xian. Everyone was shocked. No one expected the situation to turn out like this. The 3 mysterious crystals could even create 3 powerful experts. However, all of them were obtained by Lin Xian. The other 7 heavens favorites didn't even get a single one. One had to admit that this was too hard to believe. Before this, the hot favorites were Nangong Hao, Shueshou and Yu Luosha. Some people even speculated that the 3 of them could have gotten one each. But now Lin Xian had obtained all 3. The corners of everyone's mouths twitched in disbelief. Nangong Hao and the others' faces darkened. They wanted nothing more than to run away. Fuck, I can't take it, I really can't. Nangong Hao was so angry that he was trembling. Brat, just you wait. When we get out of the octatic treasure chest game, I'll definitely kill you. The mysterious crystal must be mine. You're too greedy. Bloodhand's eyes were also red, and the blood energy on his body was surging. No matter what, I must get the mysterious crystal. Ghost Li's expression was even more ferocious, like an evil spirit. Brat, hand over the mysterious crystal and the blood soul stone obediently, and I can spare your life. Otherwise, when you leave the octatic treasure chest game, it will be the time of your death. Yu Luocha's voice was even colder. The others were also crazy. They stared at Lin Xian with murderous intent. Obviously, as soon as the octatic treasure chest game was out, these people would make a move to snatch the mysterious crystal in Lin Xian's hands. In the past, such a thing would never happen because no matter who obtained the mysterious crystal, they would immediately absorb it on the spot. The others could only watch, but it was different now. Not only did Lin Xian obtain 3 mysterious crystals, but he also kept them in his storage ring. He did not absorb any of them. This was equivalent to having a small sun above his head, telling others that the treasure was here. Come, come, come. Therefore not only Nangong Hao, Blood Hand and the others, even the martial artists outside and even the city lord who was hiding in the dark were extremely tempted. Because as long as the octatic treasure chest game was out, they could make a move without any worries. Without the restriction of the octatic treasure chest game, Lin Xian would definitely be dead. Everyone's eyes were red. There was no other way. The mysterious crystal was too important. Whoever obtained it would be able to reach the peak and stand above everyone else. Therefore, even if Lin Xian's current identity was the disciple of the third guardian, they would not care. If they could break through, why would they care about the third guardian? In an instant, everyone looked at Lin Xian with greed in their eyes. Nangong Hao waved his hand, and the martial artists from the Divine Pill Hall immediately rushed forward and surrounded the array. On the other side, Blood Hand, Ghostly, and the others waved their hands as well. All the elite martial artists from the various halls quickly rushed over and surrounded the octatic treasure chest game. The surrounding martial artists were terrified and quickly retreated. Damn it, I'm afraid this is going to be troublesome. That kid is too strong. He snatched 3 mysterious crystals and did not give the other Sky Prides a chance. He's too arrogant and overbearing. The other Sky Prides will not agree. There will definitely be a huge battle. Hurry up and retreat. Otherwise you won't even be able to keep your life. This Hua Wufeng is too arrogant. He could have left 1 crystal for the others. Now that he has taken all 3, the Heaven Sect will not accept it. It's over. There will definitely be a huge battle. I'm afraid the enforcers will not care. Yeah, I'm afraid the city lord will want a piece of the pie too. The surrounding martial artists quickly retreated and kept discussing. In the crowd, Murong Qingqing, who was dressed in purple, looked like a fairy. When she saw this, she snorted coldly. Beside her, Luo Bingshan looked cold. As long as Lin Xian gave the order, he would definitely take action. However, the dark red divine dragon shook his head and said, "The 2 of you don't have to do anything. Leave this small matter to that kid." As expected, Lin Xian looked around and sneered disdainfully. "What? You can't beat me in a fair fight, so you want to snatch it by force? Kid, you're too arrogant. You can't take the mysterious crystals for yourself. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and hand it over. Perhaps you can keep your life. Otherwise today will be your burial ground." Nangong Hao snorted coldly. Blood Hand was also emitting a murderous aura. "I advise you not to make a mistake. Hurry up and hand over the mysterious crystals." "Hand over the crystals? I don't have the habit of spitting out what I've taken." Lin Xian shrugged. "Also, you losers, do you really think you can beat me? Hee hee, although none of us are a match for you in a one-on-one fight, what if we join forces?" Ghostly smiled sinisterly. "With the 7 of us joining forces, do you think you can escape? Moreover, there are elites from our various halls around." "That's right. The city lord's mansion will not let you off either." Gu Yuan's face was ferocious. "Kid, kneel down obediently and hand over the mysterious crystals and blood soul stone. I can spare your life." Yu Luosha also shouted. The 7 Sky Pride's eyes were like lightning as they stared at Lin Xian. The killing intent and greed on their bodies were not concealed at all. Then the 7 of them quickly turned around and left the Octatic Treasure Chest game. This was because they could not kill anyone in the Octatic Treasure Chest game. They could only attack after they came out. Chapter 1391. Kid, hurry up and come down to die. Stay up there forever if you dare. I don't believe you won't come out. Hee hee, you think you can stop me? If I want to leave, even God can't stop me." Lin Shui sneered, then stepped out and left the Octatic Treasure Chest game. "What? He came out, he actually came out." The surrounding martial artists exclaimed in disbelief. "No way, this guy is too arrogant. He actually dared to come out? Yeah, he's definitely dead if he comes out. In the Octatic Treasure Chest game, the array can block most of the damage, so it's absolutely safe. But once he comes out, he'll lose the defense of the array. With the strength of the 7 geniuses, I'm afraid no one can withstand their anger. It's over, it's over. That kid is dead for sure." Everyone shook their heads and sighed. They all thought that Lin Xian was too arrogant. Nangong Hao, Blood Rogue, Ghostly, and the others laughed wildly. They didn't expect that Lin Xian would really come out. "Idiot kid, you're too arrogant. Today will be the day you die. What an idiot. Do you really think you're invincible? Hand over the mysterious crystal. Kill." A series of cold shouts could be heard. Then the 7 geniuses quickly attacked. This time they were completely on the same side and decided to kill Lin Xian together. Nangong Hao's figure was tall and his cold face was filled with killing intent. He was too aggrieved previously. He actually lost to Lin Xian in the field he was best at. Therefore this time he wanted to vent the anger in his heart. He had to blast Lin Xian into pieces. "Die, brat." Countless purple flames surged out of his body and turned into a purple qilin in front of him. It roared ferociously and terrifying heat spread out in all directions. "This time I won't give you any chance." Blood Rogue's expression was cold as killing intent surged all over his body. A river of blood surged behind him, emitting a monstrous smell of blood. In the next moment, the river of blood danced and wrapped around his arm, forming a mysterious pattern. Then he struck out with his palm. Suddenly the sky, the ground all turned blood red. It was as if the space had become azure hell. The scene was extremely terrifying. It made one's scalp tingle in despair. "I will make you kneel until you die." Yu Luocha's beautiful face was very cold. She waved the human-faced peach blossom fan, and the pink mist formed an extremely strange light that slashed towards Lin Xian. Kikik, your soul is mine. Ghostly laughed sinisterly, holding the white bone banner in his hand. Countless ghosts and vengeful spirits quickly rushed forward. Kill. Feng Hudy didn't say anything. She just gripped the black spear in her hand tightly and stabbed out quickly. Soul-extinguishing spear. This spear was like a black torrent, directly piercing through the void, quickly stabbing towards Lin Xian. Die, brat. Gu Yuan's face was ferocious and distorted. He waved the long sword in his hand and slashed out several sharp sword lights. Every single sword light contained all of his power. At this moment, when they flew out together, it was terrifying to the extreme. The 7 experts attacked at the same time, causing the entire space in front of them to collapse rapidly. An incomparably terrifying power instantly rushed towards Lin Xian, as if it wanted to tear him to pieces. Horrifying, this was too horrifying. Each of the 7 prodigies was an extremely powerful existence. When the 7 of them attacked, it could be said that no one could compare. The martial artists watching from afar felt their scalps go numb, and their faces were filled with despair. In front of this power, they were like tiny ants, unable to resist at all. Many people were even suppressed by this aura until they knelt on the ground, trembling. It's over. That brat is really finished. Everyone shook their heads because in front of the 7 prodigies, even the hall master might not be able to resist. But Lin Xian was still calm, and there was even disdain at the corner of his mouth. To outsiders, these attacks were incomparably terrifying, and no one could resist them. But in his eyes, it was nothing. One had to know that he had once faced Prince Ling Feng's powerful attack. At that time, there were 10 peak 9th heaven martial artists, plus dozens of 9th heaven supremacies, and hundreds of 8th heaven supremacies. That lineup was hundreds of times more than now. However, he could destroy any kind of lineup with a wave of his hand, let alone the ones in front of him. Is this all you've got? Really pitifully weak. People like you are worthy of being called prodigies? Today I'll let you see what a true prodigy is. Lin Xian sneered. His black hair fluttered and a powerful aura surged from his body, instantly exploding. An extremely powerful force exploded from Lin Xian's body, like an ancient ferocious beast awakening, and it was terrifying. His vitality was vigorous and it shot straight into the sky. There was even a low dragon's roar coming from his body. He punched out, and the terrifying force directly caused the void in front of him to explode. The 7 fatal attacks that were charging toward him were shattered by this punch, turning into countless streams of violent energy. What? He blasted it apart with one punch? That's impossible. Everyone was stunned. They couldn't believe their eyes. Meanwhile, the 7 prodigies' pupils constricted as they screamed. What was going on? They couldn't believe that the other party had blasted their 7 attacks apart with one punch. How was that possible? One had to know that they were all prodigies and every one of them was extremely powerful. The 7 of them together could even defeat their hall master. But now their 7 attacks had actually been blasted apart with one punch. What kind of technique is that? They couldn't believe it. Perhaps even the 4 guardians of the sacred sect couldn't do it. Only the legendary left and right messengers and the Black Dragon sect's sect leader could do it. But now, the person who had done it was only a 20-year-old young man, and his cultivation was only at the 8th heaven of the honorable realm. They couldn't believe it. No, impossible, this can't be real. Nangonghao screamed crazily. Damn it, how did you do it? Bloodhand's face was ferocious. Impossible, this must be a fucking illusion. Ghost Li's face was ugly, and he no longer had the arrogance from before. Yu Luosha and Feng Hudy lost their colors as well. At this moment, all 7 geniuses were stunned by this punch. You're just a bunch of ants. How dare you call yourself prodigies? Do you really think that 7 ants working together can kill a giant dragon? Ignorant. Lin Xian snorted. Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind. At that moment he was like a god of war looking disdainfully at his surroundings. His powerful aura suffocated everyone. In the next moment his figure flashed and he charged towards the 7 prodigies. On the opposite side, the 7 prodigies' pupils constricted. Then they roared and unleashed their most powerful techniques to counterattack. There was no way out now. They could only fight with their backs against the wall to survive. Otherwise, with Lin Xian's strength, they wouldn't be able to contend against him. Nangonghao. Alchemy genius, unparalleled flame? Trash like you don't dare to play with fire in front of me? Chapter 1392. In the blink of an eye, Lin Xian had arrived in front of Nangong Hao. His speed made everyone's hair stand on end. That was because they hadn't noticed when Lin Xian had arrived. Nangong Hao's expression changed drastically. His handsome face was filled with fear. He had not expected Lin Xian to find him first. What? Why did he find me first? Nangong Hao roared in his heart. However, he could not care less. He could only grit his teeth and fight back with all his might. Let me show you my flame martial soul. Purple River martial soul, condense. Nangong Hao roared crazily. Suddenly, countless purple flames condensed on his body and formed a purple Kylin in front of him. The Kylin was made up of flames. It was mighty and exuded a terrifying power. This was Nangong Hao's martial soul. Go to hell, brat. Along with the voice, the purple Kylin roared and pounced on Lin Xian. The heat from the flames burned black holes in the void. Is this how you can be so arrogant? Purple flame? Ridiculous. Let me show you what a real flame Kylin is. Lin Xian roared. Then countless black flames gushed out from his body and formed a huge monster in front of him. This time it was also a Kylin. It was black and ferocious. Its aura was 10 times stronger than Nangong Hao's. The huge black Kylin was like a peerless demon. It looked down and slapped Nangong Hao's purple Kylin into powder. Nangong Hao was severely injured. He vomited blood and knelt on the ground. No, impossible. He could not believe that Lin Xian had used the same move as him. Moreover, the power was 10 times stronger than his. He was in despair. Trash. Lin Xian snorted and turned to leave. The huge black Kylin disappeared quickly. However, only a black palm was left hanging above Nangong Hao's head. With just a little bit of strength, Nangong Hao would be burned to ashes. Oh. Feeling the terrifying aura above his head, Nangong Hao screamed in despair. He knew that he had been defeated. Lin Xian could easily kill him. He didn't know who the other party was to have such power, but he knew that he had to survive. No, you can't kill me. I'm a genius of the Divine Pill Hall. If you kill me, the Divine Pill Hall won't let you off. Lin Xian snorted coldly and ignored him. Then, with a flash, he appeared in front of Blood Hand again. Blood Demon King, come out. Blood Hand's face was ferocious as he shouted with all his might. He knew that it was too late to say anything now. He could only fight with everything he had to survive. Therefore, he did not hesitate to summon his martial soul. Blood chi surged from his body, emitting a monstrous killing intent. A figure slowly condensed from the blood river behind him. It was a blood-colored giant that was 2 meters tall. His limbs were thick and muscular and his face was ferocious. He did not look like a human at all but a blood demon. Not only that, but there were blood-colored patterns all over his body, forming an extremely mysterious pattern. This was Blood Hand's martial soul, the Blood Demon King. As soon as he walked out, his surroundings turned blood red. His monstrous killing intent made everyone tremble. This Blood Demon King's aura was too fierce. It was definitely formed by killing countless people. Kid, do you know how my martial soul was formed? Blood Hand's voice was ferocious. This Blood Demon King was formed after I killed 10,000 elite martial artists. 10,000. When the surrounding people heard this, they all trembled. This was the real 10,000 massacre. No wonder he had such a terrifying Blood Demon King. Ordinary martial artists had no chance of winning against Blood Hand. This was because Blood Hand did not even need to make a move. Just the terrifying Blood Demon King's aura alone was enough to crush the opponent's will. 10,000 massacre? After Lin Xian heard this, he laughed disdainfully. Then he said in a deep voice, "Is this what you're so proud of? With this little bit of Blood Demon King's aura? You're still far from it. Today I'll show you what the real Blood Demon King's aura is." He snorted coldly and quickly displayed the Blood Sword Massacre inheritance. An extremely terrifying Blood Demon King's aura gushed out from Lin Xian's body and instantly filled the surroundings. The surrounding sky turned blood red. Not only that, a vast sea of blood appeared around him, instantly turning the southern desolation ancient town into a blood-red azure hell. Blood Sea. This was the real Blood Sea. It was as if it had materialized and appeared in the surroundings. In the Blood Sea, countless white bones and corpses floated, emitting a monstrous murderous aura. What? How is this possible? Blood Hand was shocked and could not believe it. He did not expect his opponent to have such a powerful Blood Demon King's aura. Moreover, from this aura, it was more than 10 times stronger than his. If the blood-red murderous aura on his body was a surging river, Then Lin Xian's murderous aura was a boundless ocean that stretched as far as the eye could see. The murderous aura on Lin Xian's body was countless times bigger than his. How was this a battle? This was a comparison between an ant and a giant dragon. They were not on the same level at all. Boom. In front of Lin Xian's blood massacre, Blood Hand's martial soul could not withstand it at all and exploded. Oof. Blood Hand vomited a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Oof. Lin Xian coldly snorted and turned to leave, walking towards his next target. The blood sea around him quickly condensed, forming a blood-red palm, floating above Blood Hand's head. As long as it lightly patted, it would be destroyed. Everyone was shocked. This method was too terrifying. Because Blood Hand and Nangong Hao were defeated, completely defeated. They lost in their strongest and most confident domain. And Lin Xian was like a demon god, once again walking towards Ghost Li. What do you want to do? Ghost Li's face was pale with fright, his heart was shocked. He gritted his teeth and coldly snorted, "Good method, it is indeed a good method. I didn't expect your mastery of fire and blood to be so high. Even Blood Hand and Nangong Hao are not your opponents. But I do not believe that you also cultivate the soul Dao. If you have the ability, use the same method to defeat me." Ghost Li madly roared. He could already see that Lin Xian was obviously trying to attack them. But he did not believe that he would lose this time. Because he cultivated the soul Dao, possessing millions of souls. And such a person's characteristics were very obvious. But the other party did not have the aura of vengeful spirits. So, he did not believe that the other party could use the same martial skill as him. In the next moment, Ghost Li roared and quickly waved the white bone banner. Immediately, millions of vengeful spirits whistled out. Ghosts wailed and wolves howled. Yin Qi permeated the heaven and earth, causing one's scalp to go numb. On the huge white bone banner, countless white bone claws stretched out. It was very terrifying. Ghost Dao. Lin Xian coldly snorted. To be honest, he did not know this martial skill. But he had the great dragon sword spirit, which was an offensive saint technique between heaven and earth. It could evolve and simulate everything. Chapter 1393. Soon Lin Xian waved his hand, and a terrifying vengeful spirit appeared in his hand. As soon as the vengeful spirit appeared, it stirred up a chilly wind, causing everyone to tremble. As for Gui Li and the rest, they all knelt in the air and kept worshipping as if they had met their emperor. Impossible. This is impossible. I don't believe it. Gui Li's expression changed drastically, and even his body started to tremble. He did not believe that Lin Xian could summon the same spirit as him. Moreover, his aura was 10 times stronger than his. Illusion, you must be using an illusion. Gui Li gritted his teeth and waved the white bone banner, quickly attacking. Lin Xian snorted coldly and controlled the vengeful spirit formed by the great dragon sword soul to attack. Boom. Instantly Gui Li's vengeful spirits shattered, and the white bone banner also cracked into 2 halves. Defeated again. In an instant, the terrifying Gui Li was also defeated. Seeing this scene, everyone exclaimed, and the remaining 4 sky prides felt their scalps go numb. They looked at each other and then quickly attacked. This time they would definitely take the initiative. Human face peach blossom fan. Yuluosha shouted and waved the folding fan in her hand. Immediately, the folding fan expanded rapidly and opened up. There was a human face formed by peach blossoms on it. It was extremely strange and emitted a terrifying aura. The human face was ferocious, and it spat out a pink mist that was extremely terrifying and corrosive. As soon as it appeared, black holes were burned in the void. Even a 9th heaven supremacy would be turned into a pool of pus if they touched it. The mist formed a ray of light that charged towards Lin Xian. Soul Extinguishing Spear. Daluo Sword Technique. A black spear, a sharp sword light, and an extremely terrifying saber light quickly attacked Lin Xian. The black spear was powerful enough to extinguish souls, and it could extinguish the souls of others. The sword light was even more dazzling, and it was completely golden. It was as heavy as 10,000 pieces of gold, and it was like a golden mountain that came crashing down. Shadowless also slashed out a saber light. He did not attack at close range but directly attacked. That blade light was dazzling like a shooting star. Moreover, it was swift and fierce to the extreme. That killing intent was not the slightest bit weaker than Blood Hand's. Moreover, it was soundless and impossible to guard against. The 4 attacks were incomparably terrifying. They were all the absolute arts of the 4 people. Lin Xian coldly snorted and waved his arms rapidly. Suddenly, A black spear appeared in his hand. With a thrust of the spear, the terrifying spear light was as sharp as a black dragon. Furthermore, there was an extremely powerful soul power entwined around it. Soul-extinguishing spear. He had used the great dragon sword art to create this spear. What? That's impossible. How did you do it? Feng Hudi's beautiful face lost all color. Her face was full of shock. Not only that, Lin Xian waved his arm again and a golden sword light, like an ancient demonic mountain, pierced through the sky and covered the entire space with a layer of gold. The Daluo sword technique was exactly the same, and it was even more terrifying than Gu Yuan's. What? That's impossible. Gu Yuan screamed. A ray of light flew out from Lin Xian's fingertip. Like the Milky Way, it instantly split the entire void into two. Windless slash. Shadowless's pupils shrank. He did not expect his absolute art to appear in the hands of others. That was not the end. Lin Xian used his spiritual power to form a folding fan and slapped it forward. The power of the human-faced peach blossom fan was 10 times stronger than Yu Luocha's. That's impossible. Yu Luocha was extremely shocked and could not believe it. That was her absolute art. But it was actually used by the other party. Furthermore, the power was even more terrifying than what they had used. Although they had seen Ling Xian's technique before, they still could not believe it when they saw it again. The so-called absolute art was naturally something that only they knew. Others could not grasp it at all. However, the other party could use it. Not only did it look the same, but its power was even more terrifying. They could not understand what kind of technique was used to achieve this. Boom, 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 boom. Their attacks were instantly broken, and the 4 of them were heavily injured and fell to the ground. In an instant, the 7 Sky Prides were defeated once again. This time they were all heavily injured. Lin Xian waved his hand again. Immediately, 4 terrifying palms appeared and pressed on the Sky Prides of those people. Brat, you dare to touch me? I will make you wish you were dead. Yu Luocha screamed. She had never been threatened like this before. The corner of Shadowless's mouth twitched and his expression turned ugly. Feng Hudi also snorted coldly. Gu Yuan knelt on the ground and begged loudly for mercy. I beg you, don't kill me. Don't kill me. I didn't mean to target you previously. Now I apologize to you. Please let me go. The last person, Gu Yuan, started to beg for mercy. When the surrounding warriors saw this scene, they all had different expressions. Some shook their heads, some felt pity, and some sneered. They did not expect Gu Yuan to kneel and beg for mercy. In the sky, Elder Linghu's expression was also ugly. As for the city lord, who was hiding in the dark, he snorted coldly in his heart. Lin Xian ignored the threats and curses of those Sky Prides. He slowly raised his palm and was about to land it. Nangong Haoqi's face was pale and filled with despair. He had never expected that he would die here one day. However, at this critical moment, the ground suddenly began to tremble. It was as if there was an earthquake, or as if thousands of soldiers and horses had arrived. What's going on? The surrounding warriors were shocked. They did not know what had happened. Lin Xian also frowned and did not continue to attack those 7 people. This made the 7 of them heave a sigh of relief. At the same time, hope rose in their hearts. This is great. As long as we can delay for a while, the hall masters of their respective halls will arrive. At that time they will be safe. Brat, just you wait. When our hall masters arrive, they will definitely kill you. I will make you wish you were dead. Nangong Haoqi and the others roared in their hearts. Lin Xian turned around and looked into the distance. His eyes were like 2 rays of sword light that pierced through the void. Soon the crowd understood what had happened. This was because countless figures were flying towards them. These people were dressed in black robes and had blood-red hair. Their faces were ferocious and each of them had a strong murderous aura. They were like death gods. Shura Hall. The Shura Hall's army is here. The crowd exclaimed in horror. They did not expect the Shura Hall to arrive at this critical moment. It's over. It looks like the Shura Hall is here for revenge. That's for sure. The Shura Hall lost 3 elders and more than 10 disciples. They have also lost face. No matter what, they will not take this lying down. But that Hua Wufeng is not simple either. Those 7 Sky Prides are no match for him. I wonder if the Shura Hall can subdue him? Are you stupid? No matter how powerful those Sky Prides are, there are only 7 of them. The Shura Hall has brought hundreds of experts this time. Even their hall master is here. Chapter 1394. In the distance, Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, and the others who were kneeling on the ground were overjoyed when they saw the Azura Hall. With the Azura Hall's help they could definitely kill them. Even if they couldn't kill them, they could at least buy some time for their Hall Master to arrive. Therefore they didn't say anything and just watched the scene with excitement. Boom, boom, boom. The Azura army arrived and countless cold gazes swept across the area. When they saw the miserable state of Nangong Hao and the others, they were stunned for a moment. However, they quickly swept past them and stared at Lin Xian. "You're that Hua Wufeng?" a tall young man asked coldly. He was the Azura Hall's prodigy and the First Division Master, Ming Xiu. On the other hand, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and sneered as he looked at the black mass of people before him. "What's the matter? Killing the old redhead actually provoked so many redheads. Are you all here for revenge? Impudent. You're courting death. Slap him. Kid, you're courting death." The Azura Hall's martial artists roared. The surrounding martial artists' mouths twitched. Perhaps only Lin Xian dared to call the Azura Hall's members redheads. "Kid, you killed my Azura Hall's elder and now you're insulting my Azura Hall. You deserve to die." A tall and sturdy middle-aged man with a ferocious face shouted coldly. He was the Azura Hall's Hall Master, Venerable Azura. His voice was filled with boundless killing intent and it quickly spread in all directions. Everyone's mind went blank and their ears trembled. Some of the weaker martial artists couldn't withstand the killing intent and fainted. Terrifying, too terrifying. As expected of the Azura Hall's Hall Master. He was much stronger than Nangong Hao and the others of the younger generation. Nangong Hao and the others were only at the intermediate 9th rank, but the Azura Hall's Hall Master was at the late 9th rank. He was extremely powerful. The Azura Hall's Hall Master was comparable to the 7 prodigies from before. "You want to compete with me in killing intent? You're still lacking. Get lost." Lin Xian shouted coldly. Suddenly, the sound waves turned into countless blades and swords that rushed in all directions. The killing intent turned into sword chi that swept across the sky. The terrifying sound waves tore the void apart. It was too terrifying. The killing intent released by Lin Xian was stronger than the Azura Hall's Hall Master. The Azura Hall's martial artists were horrified. Not only that, the murderous aura swords in the sky quickly condensed into a huge sword of slaughter, which then slashed toward the people of the Azura Hall. Boom. With a loud bang, the terrifying sword of slaughter descended. Instantly the entire space shook violently. That terrifying murderous chi surged as if it could destroy everything. Not good. Damn it. How dare you? Those from the Azura Hall were shocked, and the Azura Hall's Hall Master was furious. He waved his hand and quickly slapped the air in front of him. The momentum of this punch was extremely frightening. The terrifying fist directly shook the sky to the point of shattering. In the next moment, the fist collided with the sword of slaughter, and an earth-shaking sound was heard. Countless lightning bolts flashed at the point of collision. Violent energy swept out in all directions. This aura caused the surrounding martial artists to tremble, their bodies trembling all over. What was even more shocking was that the Azura Hall's Hall Master's punch didn't shatter the sword sky. The sword chi shone in the air like a sword of death. It was extremely sharp. What? He's fine. How is this possible? The Azura Hall's members were shocked. The surrounding martial artists were in an uproar. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful that he could contend with the Azura Hall's Hall Master. No wonder he could beat the other Sky Prides. The next moment, the Azura Hall's Hall Master's Azura Hall fist was split in half. The sword chi didn't disappear. It continued to slash at the Azura Hall's members. Damn it. Who is this kid? He's so strong. The Azura Hall's Hall Master was shocked. Although he didn't use his full strength in that punch, he still used 70% of his strength. Under normal circumstances, he wouldn't be able to contend with a Sky Pride. However, Lin Xian withstood it. Not only that, Lin Xian even broke his fist. He had to admit that this was beyond his expectations. "You're courting death." The Azura Hall's Hall Master roared and punched again. This time he used all his strength to shatter Lin Xian's sword chi. He wasn't the only one. The hundreds of Azura Hall's martial artists behind him roared and attacked as well. Palm shadows and fist forces shot up into the sky and bombarded the sword of slaughter. Boom. The next moment, the sky exploded again. Boundless energy surged and covered the entire space. Many martial artists were sent flying by the energy storm. Some of the weaker martial artists screamed in agony. The Azura Hall's members retreated as a whole, leaving deep grooves on the ground. This scene was too terrifying. So many Azura Hall's elite martial artists attacked together. There was even an honorable Azura among them. However, they still couldn't withstand Lin Xian's sword. This was too unbelievable. The honorable Azura roared, "Kid, you've angered me. I'll let you know what it means to wish you were dead." Behind him, the hundreds of Azura Hall's elite martial artists also roared crazily. "Kid, kneel down and accept your death." Their voices vibrated and their momentum shook the sky. The terrifying sound waves seemed to overturn the sky. Lin Xian snorted coldly, "Cut the crap. Get over here and accept your death." Formation, Azura God Slaughtering Formation. The Honorable Azura roared. Immediately, the hundreds of Azura Hall's martial artists behind him moved quickly and formed a terrifying formation. Murderous intent gushed out from these people and quickly condensed in the air, forming a terrifying killing formation. This formation was extremely powerful. Now that it was formed by hundreds of Azura Hall's elites, it was even more powerful. Even a Hall Master level martial artist wouldn't be able to escape death if he entered. On the other hand, Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind. The furious dragon art in his body was circulating rapidly. His body was full of vitality like a huge dragon. Then his palms quickly formed a seal. Jianghu transformation. A deep voice sounded. Then a huge figure appeared in the sky. It was the ancient beast Jianghu. This was the first transformation of the 9 firmament transformations. At this moment, Lin Xian fully displayed it. His huge body was like a real demonic beast that had been reborn. It was extremely terrifying. Taking a step forward, heaven and earth shook. Then Jianghu moved his huge body and rushed toward the hundreds of Azura Hall's martial artists. Boom! Jianghu's power shook the sky and the earth. He crashed into the Azura God Slaughtering Formation that had just been formed. "You're courting death. Destroy him." The Azura Hall's martial artists roared. However, they had underestimated Lin Xian's attack. The 9 firmament transformations was a true Earth-class cultivation technique. Moreover, Lin Xian had used the Furious Roar art and the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul. It could be said that his attack was unstoppable. Soon, the blood-colored formation that had just been formed shattered into pieces. The sound of metal breaking could be heard. Boom, boom, boom. The mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Countless Azura Hall's martial artists were smashed into meat paste. Even more were sent flying. In an instant, the smell of blood and screams could be heard. What? The Azura God Slaughtering Formation was broken? How is this possible? Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. The Azura Honorable's eyes were red. "Brat, how dare you kill my Azura Hall's disciples? I want you dead." Die. Chapter 1395. What? The Azura God Slaughtering Array was broken? How is that possible? Everyone was shocked and didn't dare to believe it. The Azura Venerable's eyes turned red. "Brat, you dared to kill my Azura Hall's disciple. I'll kill you. Die for me." A figure flew out. It was the Azura Hall's prodigy Mingxiu. He roared and rushed into the sky with the blood-colored spear in his hand. Azura God Slaughtering Spear. The spear thrust out, causing the wind and clouds to change. Blood-colored runes revolved around the spearhead and emitted a terrifying power. Lin Xian coldly snorted and changed his palm again. Jianghu changed into a sky-shaking roar. Suddenly, the huge Jianghu in the sky turned around and faced the Azura prodigy. Then it opened its bloody mouth and emitted a terrifying sound wave. Brr. The sound wave burst forth and quickly spread, causing the sky in front of it to explode. The blood-colored spear exploded in the terrifying sound wave and turned into countless fragments. The Azura Hall's prodigy, Mingxiu, screamed miserably as his body was cut into countless pieces. His corpse fell and blood dyed the sky red. A prodigy was killed just like that. What? He's dead. Nangong Hao and the others, who were kneeling in the distance, narrowed their eyes and had a drastic change in expression. They didn't expect that Mingxiu, who was on the same level as them, would be killed so easily. That was a prodigy of the Azura Hall. How could he dare to kill him? "Damn brat, I'll kill you." The 4 elders of the Azura Hall soared into the sky like bolts of lightning, bringing with them a torrential killing intent. They were mad with anger. The other party had killed their Azura Hall's prodigy. It was an unforgivable crime. However, Lin Xian changed his palm again. Sky Rock Transformation Golden Sword. Suddenly, the sky trembled and a golden figure appeared. It was a giant bird. When it spread its wings, it covered the sky and emitted a terrifying aura. Not only that, but the golden feathers also transformed into 100,000 long swords that slashed downward. Off, off. In an instant, the 4 elders were cut in half. Not only that, but the Azura Hall's martial artists below were also pierced by several golden swords. In an instant, all the Azura Hall martial artists were killed. The only person still alive was the Azura Hall's Hall Master, Venerable Azura. They were all wiped out? They were all wiped out in an instant? Everyone was shocked, not daring to believe what they were seeing. What kind of method was this? Is he really the disciple of the third guardian? How could this be? I'm afraid even the third protector doesn't have that kind of ability. Let alone the third protector, I'm afraid that even the left and right emissaries might not be able to do it. I'm afraid that only the sect master would be able to do it. Everyone was in a daze. The venerable Shura roared madly, "Damn brat, I'm going to kill you." His heart was bleeding. Those were the elites of his Azura Hall. He couldn't accept the fact that all of them had been killed in an instant. Perhaps, after this battle, the Azura Hall's strength would drop to 1,000 feet. They wouldn't even be able to defeat the weakest Nether Hall. And all of this was caused by this detestable brat in front of him. Therefore he had to kill him. Die brat. The venerable Azura's expression was ferocious as he charged toward Lin Xian at lightning speed. Countless purple lights gushed out from his body, and his aura was extremely terrifying. Azura palm. A dazzling light burst out from his palm. The entire void could not withstand it at all. This time he was determined to kill. Not only did he use all of his strength, but he also used the Azura Hall's ultimate technique, the Azura palm. No one of the same level as him dared to resist this palm. Lin Xian was as fast as lightning. He shouted coldly, then raised his arm and slashed out with his sword. Lin Xian slashed out a sword light that emitted a sharp aura. It instantly collided with the purple palm. The venerable Azura's expression changed immediately. He had gone crazy and attacked recklessly. However, when his opponent's sword really slashed his body, he regretted it very much. That was because the sword chi was too sharp and he could not withstand it at all. Therefore, in the next moment, the purple Azura palm that he unleashed was instantly cut in half. Not only that, but the sword also split his palm and severed his entire arm. Ah! The venerable Azura screamed miserably at the sky. However, that was not the end. The sharp sword light was still descending rapidly and was about to kill him. However, at that moment, a furious roar suddenly came from the void. Stop! The voice was very loud and clear. It was like a clap of thunder that shook the void. Buzz! The long sword stopped and hung above the venerable Azura's head. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows slightly. His gaze was like lightning as he scanned the distance. Then he said coldly, "Who are you? What do you want to say?" The void moved quickly and a majestic figure appeared. It was a middle-aged man with tiger eyes and a lion's nose. He looked very dignified. As soon as the figure appeared, Elder Linghu and the rest of the people from the law enforcement hall hurriedly exclaimed, "Greetings, City Lord." He's the City Lord of the Southern Wilderness Ancient Town? Everyone was shocked as they looked at the sky. They did not expect that the mysterious City Lord had finally appeared. Below, when Gu Yuan, who was being controlled, saw this scene, he also shouted loudly, "City Lord, quickly save me." The City Lord snorted coldly and ignored him. Previously, when Gu Yuan knelt and begged for mercy, he had embarrassed the Southern Wilderness Ancient Town. How could he save him? Moreover, he was doing this to save the venerable Azura. Hence, he quickly said, "You can't kill him." "Can't kill him?" Lin Xian sneered. "Give me a reason." "Because he's the Hall Master of the Azura Hall." "Nonsense. Of course, I know that he's the Hall Master of the Azura Hall. However, that's not a reason to not kill him." The Hall Master of the Azura Hall said in a ferocious voice, "Brat, are you really touched by my actions? When the time comes, I'm afraid that even the third law won't be able to protect you. The sacred sect will definitely not let you go. Hua Wufeng, did you hear that? Hurry up and release the venerable Azura. Everything can still be discussed. Don't make a big mistake. Otherwise it'll be too late for regrets." The City Lord said coldly. "That's what you want to say? It seems that you can't give any other reason. In that case, get lost." The City Lord was furious. His face was gloomy. No one had ever dared to treat him like this. However, before he could get angry, he was stunned. This was because Lin Xian, who was in front of him, waved his arm. The sword light directly slashed down and split the venerable Azura in half. Bang! The Hall Master of the Azura Hall was killed. His corpse fell to the ground and his blood dyed the sky red. What? The Hall Master of the Azura Hall is dead. Everyone was shocked and could not believe it. That was the Hall Master of the Azura Hall. He was an extremely important figure. Even the 4 great protectors did not dare to kill him easily. However, now, a 20-year-old young man had killed the Hall Master of the Azura Hall. This was the rhythm of breaking through the sky. Chapter 1396. In the distance, Nangong Hao, Shueshou, and the others were in despair. They didn't expect the other party to be so bold as to kill the Hall Master. This made them extremely terrified. With the other party's way of doing things, he would definitely kill the 7 of them if he had the time. Hall Master, please come quickly. Nangong Hao and the others quickly prayed in their hearts. The city lord's face was extremely gloomy. He didn't expect the other party to really kill him. Moreover, the thing that he had been guessing for a long time was now clear. You're too bold. No one dares to be so bold, at least not the disciples of the sacred religion. The city lord's voice was cold. You're not the 3rd guardian's disciple. Who are you? He's not the 3rd guardian's disciple? Everyone exclaimed. They didn't expect things to turn out this way. For a moment, everyone looked at the sky and stared at Lin Xian. Who are you? What's your purpose in coming to my southern wasteland ancient array? The city lord's eyes were piercingly cold. A powerful aura surged from his body, making him look like a god of war. However, Lin Xian only sneered. He stretched out his index finger and gently pointed forward. Void-shattering finger. A streak of purple light shot out like a ghost. You're courting death. How dare you attack me? The city lord was furious. He was about to counterattack, but in the next moment, his body trembled and his pupils dilated. A stream of blood flowed down from his forehead. No, impossible. The city lord opened his eyes wide and said a few words with difficulty. Then his neck tilted and he fell from the sky. Boom. The ground trembled and dust flew. The city lord's body didn't stand up again. What? He's dead? Everyone was shocked. The enforcers were even more terrified. Among them, Elder Jianghu quickly moved to the city lord's corpse. He quickly checked it and then gasped. He was really dead. There was a finger-sized hole in the city lord's forehead. Black blood flowed out from it. This was the power of Lin Xian's void-shattering finger. What? The city lord is dead. He was killed by a finger. Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. Previously, the venerable Azura had resisted for a while before he was killed. However, the city lord had been killed with a single finger. He didn't even have the chance to resist. Impossible, this can't be true. The people from the city lord's mansion shook their heads frantically, not daring to believe it. On the other hand, Elder Jianghu and the others were horrified. They looked at Lin Xian with fear in their hearts, not daring to take revenge. Lin Xian snorted, then turned around and looked at the 7 people kneeling on the ground. Feeling Lin Xian's gaze, Nangong Hao and the others trembled in fear. Before this, they were furious and wanted to take revenge. But now, after witnessing the scene of Lin Xian killing the Azura Hall Master and Southern Wasteland City Lord with their own eyes, they were completely dumbfounded. They had never heard of such a method before. It was simply not something they could imagine. It should be known that even if they were to join forces, they might not necessarily be able to kill the Azura Hall's Hall Master. Yet, the Azura Hall's Hall Master had done so easily. What was even more shocking was that the other party had killed the Southern Wasteland City Lord, whose cultivation wasn't any weaker than the Shura Hall's Hall Master, with a single finger. Such a method was too horrifying, making it impossible for them to resist. I beg you. Don't kill me. Spare me. I beg you, spare me. I was wrong, I was really wrong. I apologize for what happened before. Please let me go. At this moment, the Sky Prides were all kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. No one dared to say anything. They didn't want to think about anything else now. They just wanted to save their own lives. Lin Xian snorted. These people were from the Black Dragon sect. Their hands were stained with the blood of innocent people. How could he let them go? He raised his hand and was about to kill the 7 people. However, at this moment, another angry roar came from afar. Who dares to touch the people of the Blood Evil Hall? How dare you? Let my disciple go. 2 cold shouts were heard. Then 2 figures appeared in the sky like lightning. The 2 figures were too fast. In an instant they were in front of the crowd. When the crowd saw them, they immediately cried out in surprise. Nangong Hao and Blood Rogue, who were kneeling on the ground, cried out loudly. Master. Hall Master, save me. It turned out that the two of them were the Hall Masters of the Divine Pill Hall and the Blood Evil Hall. They didn't expect them to come personally. The Hall Master of the Divine Pill Hall was an old man. He wasn't tall and wore a white robe. However, his eyes were as sharp as a divine eagle's. His body exuded a terrifying aura. He was more powerful than the governor of the Southern Desolation ancient town and the Azura Honorable from the Azura Hall. He was the Hall Master of the Divine Pill Hall, known as the Divine Pill Honorable. Beside him was a middle-aged man. He was tall and had a powerful aura. He wore a bright red robe with blood flowing on it. It was shining brightly. This person had a murderous aura as if he was a bloody devil. He was the Hall Master of the Blood Evil Hall, the Blood Evil Honorable. His aura was several times more powerful than Blood Rogue's. Divine Pill Honorable. Blood Evil Honorable. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect two Hall Masters to appear. It's over. Hua Wufeng is in danger. That's right. With the two Hall Masters taking action, their strength can be considered heaven-defying. Looks like Nangong Hao and Blood Rogue's lives are saved. Just as the crowd was discussing, two angry shouts came from afar. Kid, how dare you touch the people of the Evil Ghost Hall? You must be tired of living. Oomph. How dare you touch the people of the Pink family? Kneel down and accept your death. Hearing the two shouts, the crowd was shocked again. Ghost Li and Yu Luosha, who were kneeling on the ground, were overjoyed. Hall Master. Master, save me. Just. Two figures appeared in front of the crowd. They stood in the void. Their powerful aura shrouded the area and invisible killing intent filled the air. The Evil Ghost Honorable. The Pink Honorable. The crowd was shocked. They couldn't believe it. The scene was too shocking. The person on the left was a middle-aged man. He was skinny and wore a huge black robe that covered his entire body. He wore a black robe on his head as well. His face couldn't be seen clearly. However, one could occasionally see two balls of flames dancing in his eyes. On his shoulders, there were two hideous ghost heads that exuded a cold and terrifying aura. In his hand there was a white bone wand. As he waved it, countless ghost shadows and vengeful spirits were entangled in it. That aura was enough to make one feel hopeless. He was the Hall Master of the Evil Ghost Hall, the Evil Ghost Honorable. The person on the right was a middle-aged woman. She looked to be in her 40s. However, there were no signs of aging on her face. Her skin was as smooth as a baby's. Not only that, there was a mature charm to her. She was like a blooming peach blossom. Her every move was filled with endless charm. The woman was the leader of the Pink family. However, her eyes were filled with killing intent. She glared at Lin Xian and shouted, "Kid, how dare you touch my people? Kneel down and accept your death." Lin Xian lifted his head and looked at the people in the sky. His eyes flickered. 4 Hall Masters? Interesting. Chapter 1397. Lin Xian raised his head slightly and looked at the people in the sky. 4 Hall Masters? Interesting. But it's not enough. Everyone's lips twitched and their scalps went numb. 4 Hall Masters are not enough? Is this kid crazy? The 4 Hall Masters in the sky shouted coldly and were about to attack. However, at this moment, another angry shout came from behind. Then 2 bolts of lightning rushed over. Suddenly, Feng Hudi and Shadowless screamed from below. 2 more Hall Masters. Everyone exclaimed and felt a little dizzy. That's right. 2 more figures appeared in the sky. They were the Black Wind Hall Master and the Assassination Hall Master. The Black Wind Hall Master was a middle-aged man in black armor and held a black spear. However, his aura was many times more powerful than Feng Hudi's. The Assassination Hall Master was an old man. He looked ordinary and expressionless as if he was an ordinary person. However, no one dared to look down on him because he could assassinate a guardian. Apart from Gu Yuan, who was in despair, the rest of the Supreme Talents who were kneeling on the ground were overjoyed because their elders and Hall Masters were all here. The Hall Masters gathered in the sky and locked their gazes on Lin Xian. They did not hide their cold killing intent. Any one of the 6 Hall Masters could dominate a region and make countless people kneel before them. However, at this moment the 6 of them were even more terrifying. Perhaps no one could fight against them. Not to mention Lin Xian, even the 3rd Guardian might not be able to fight against them. Master, that kid got 3 mysterious crystals. Take him down quickly. Nangong Hao shouted crazily from below. Yes, not only did he steal my mysterious crystals, but he also stole the Blood Soul Stone. We must kill him. Yu Luosha screamed. He stole 3 mysterious crystals? And a blood soul stone. Hearing that, the 6 hall masters in the sky looked fervent. Kid, kneel down and hand over the mysterious crystals and the blood soul stone. I can give you a quick death. Let him go. Young man, I advise you not to make a mistake. Although you are strong, you can't fight against the 6 of us. Hand it over or die. The 6 hall masters were like 6 huge mountains pressing down on the sky, making it hard for people to breathe. The surrounding martial artists were pale and their bodies were on the verge of collapse. In front of the 6 massive auras, they were like ants, unable to resist at all. However, Lin Xian's expression remained the same, and there was even a hint of disdain at the corner of his mouth. He ignored the 6 people and turned to look at Nangong Hao and the others. Brat, hurry up and let her go or you're dead. Hand over the mysterious crystal and I can spare your life. I'm going to return the pain I suffered 100-fold. Nangong Hao and the others roared crazily with ferocious faces. Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, and the others roared madly. They were no longer afraid. What? Just because 6 hall masters have arrived, you've become arrogant again? Have you forgotten your own situation? Lin Xian looked at Nangong Hao and the others and harumphed coldly. Brat, I advise you to be sensible. Quickly surrender and obediently allow yourself to be captured. I admit that you're strong, but in the face of 6 hall masters, you have no power to fight back. Surrender and I can spare your life. The 7 people who were kneeling on the ground sneered. Idiots. Even if 6 challenger-level martial artists were here, they wouldn't be able to save you, let alone 6 hall masters. No one can stop me from killing those I want to kill. Lin Xian stopped smiling and waved his hand. Instantly, the light palms that were floating above Nangong Hao and the others slammed down. How dare you? No. Master, save me. Blood Hand, Ghostly, and the others screamed madly, their faces full of despair. They had never thought that Lin Xian would really dare to attack them. Impossible. How dare he do that? Is he not afraid of the revenge of the 6 hall masters? However, they definitely did not know what would happen to Lin Xian, because when the 7 light palms landed, the 7 sky prides who were kneeling on the ground were instantly smashed into a mist of blood. Boom. Their bodies exploded, their flesh and blood splattered, and their bones shattered into pieces. Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. Their minds went blank and they could not believe it. As for the 6 hall masters in the sky, their pupils abruptly shrank. To be honest, they were also dumbfounded. Because they could not believe that the other party would attack them. One had to know that they were the 6 hall masters. In the face of such an attack, even the protectors could not do anything, let alone a young boy. However, the other party still attacked without hesitation. Good. Boy, I've underestimated you. The Divine Pill Honorable laughed out of anger. Boy, how dare you? However, since you dared to kill the people of the Blood Fiend Hall, your end will be extremely miserable. The Blood Fiend Honorable's expression was ferocious. Brat, I won't let you die so easily. I'm going to capture you and torture you alive for 49 days. I'll let you die in endless despair. The Pink Honorable's face was also pale, and her body was trembling with anger. In the next moment, the 6 hall masters were completely enraged. They swore that they would capture Lin Xian and let him know what regret was. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind as he looked up to the sky and laughed. 6 hall masters? Good. Together with the dead Shura Hall Master and Nether Hall Master, the 8 Hall Masters of the Black Dragon sect are finally gathered. I was still thinking about how to find you, but I didn't expect you to send yourselves to me. In that case, I'll personally send you on your way. What did you say? What Shura Hall Master and Nether Hall Master? Black Dragon sect? How dare you call them Black Dragon sect? Who are you? When the 6 Hall Masters heard Lin Xian's words, they were stunned and their brows furrowed. They knew about the death of the Shura Honorable, but what about the Nether Honorable? They had not received any news about the Nether Hall, and now the other party had mentioned that the Nether Hall Master had been killed. Damn guy, I'm afraid he's not from the Black Dragon sect. Hurry up and capture him. Let's see who he is. Kill? The Blood Fiend Honorable roared, and his blood chi surged to the sky. Then, countless blood-red runes surrounded his fingertips. Suddenly, a huge blood-red light palm covered the sky and grabbed at Lin Xian. Boom. The palm slammed down and the space in front of it collapsed, forming a terrifying black hole. However, Lin Xian's figure still disappeared. What a fast speed. The blood fiend Honorable frowned. He did not expect Lin Xian to be so fast that he could dodge his attack. Be careful, this kid is not weak. The Black Wind Honorable said in a deep voice. When they came, they had received news that Lin Xian had killed the Shura Honorable and the city governor. Therefore they did not let their guard down. However, they had underestimated Lin Xian's strength. Chapter 1398. Whoosh. A gust of wind swept across, and Lin Xian's figure instantly appeared in front of the six of them. In the next moment he drew out the Lone Star Sword, and a terrifying sword intent erupted from his body. With a slash of the sword, the heavens and earth shook. With a clang, the huge blood-red palm in the sky was instantly split into two halves, and endless blood splattered everywhere. You're courting death. Venerable Blood Demon roared and let out a miserable shriek. Then endless blood-red light burst out from his body, covering the entire sky. However, just as the aura reached its peak, it stopped abruptly. Venerable Blood Demon's head flew up and blood spurted out. His face was filled with horror. Even until his death, he could not believe that his opponent could kill him with a single slash. What? He was killed with a single slash? This is impossible. When the remaining 5 venerables saw this scene, their pupils suddenly shrank. Damn it, let's join forces. This guy is hiding his strength. The Divine Core Venerable roared crazily. He felt a chill in his heart because he realized that he had indeed underestimated his opponent's strength. With such means, his opponent was definitely not weaker than the Guardians. He had already reached the peak of level 9. They were no match for him in a one-on-one fight, so they had to join forces to kill him. However, just as the Divine Core Venerable finished shouting, he encountered a big problem. A phoenix bathed in black flames flew out from Lin Xian's palm and quickly pounced on him. You're courting death, get lost. The Divine Core Venerable roared and struck out with both of his palms. Endless flames were also waved out from his palms, forming a row of fire walls. He was very confident in competing with flames. His flames were extraordinary, and they were even more powerful than the fire spirit. However, in the next moment he let out a miserable shriek because the fire walls and fireballs that he had unleashed were all burned up in an instant. On the other hand, his opponent's Black Phoenix was unscathed. Nothing happened to it and it instantly enveloped him. Damn it, what kind of flame is this? How can it be so terrifying? The Divine Core Venerable screamed in horror. He realized that this flame was not any weaker than his sect masters. After 2 miserable shrieks, the Divine Core Venerable was burned into ashes. What? The Divine Core Venerable is also dead. The 4 Hall Masters felt a chill in their hearts and their faces turned ugly. In just an instant they had lost 2 Hall Masters. This was something they simply could not accept. As for the Black Dragon Church's disciples below, they were all stunned. They did not dare to believe their eyes. That was a Hall Master, an existence that they could only look up to. But now he was being slaughtered like a dog. This kind of huge contrast gave them an infinite shock. He is definitely not the disciple of the Third Protector. Who is he? Damn it, this kid's strength has already surpassed the Third Protector. By now, everyone understood that this person was definitely not Hua Wufeng, nor was he the disciple of the Third Guardian. If they were disciples of the Saint, they wouldn't dare to kill so many Hall Masters at the same time no matter how arrogant they were. Capture his companions. We can't beat him, but can't we capture his companions? Below, the Divine Pill Hall and Blood Fiend Scattering Hall's martial artists roared madly. They wanted to capture Lin Xian's companions and threaten Lin Xian. Suddenly, nearly 100 martial artists madly rushed towards Murong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan. In the sky, even the King of Assassins, the Honorable Assassin, made his move. This was because he had also received news that Lin Xian had attacked the Azura Hall. It was because someone had insulted the purple-clothed lady beside him that a series of tragedies had occurred. Hence, at this moment he desperately wanted to capture Murong Qingqing so that Lin Xian could capture her quickly. The elite martial artists of the Blood Fiend Hall, Divine Pill Hall, and Malicious Ghost Hall all rushed towards Murong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan. According to their thinking, Lin Xian, who was in the sky, would definitely surrender as long as they captured the 2 women. However, they were too naive. Looking at the martial artists rushing towards him, Luo Bingshan snorted coldly and pulled out the long saber at his waist. Whoosh! Saber radiance flashed and filled the surroundings. With a slash, the terrifying saber radiance was like a vast galaxy, enveloping the surroundings. Several heads flew up. Hundreds of martial artists were killed in an instant. Impossible. How can he be so strong? Everyone was terrified and quickly retreated. They did not dare to move forward. Careless. They were too careless. They thought that the two ladies beside Lin Xian should not have much strength and would be easier to capture. However, they did not expect the other party to be so strong. Looking at the might of his saber, it was not any weaker than the Hall Masters. In fact, it was even stronger. This was natural. Luo Bingshan was a peak 9th layer venerable and had the strength to assassinate half-step kings. In front of him, these people were simply not enough. Murong Qingqing also snorted coldly. She raised her lily-white hand and pressed towards the void behind her. A figure appeared from the void. His body kept retreating and his face was filled with horror. He was the Hall Master of the Assassination Hall, Venerable Assassination. He originally wanted to capture Murong Qingqing, but he did not expect the other party to be so terrifying and discover his existence in an instant. That terrifying palm even made him feel suffocated. This was an existence that he could not contend against. Venerable Assassination was so scared that his scalp went numb. He could feel that the purple-clothed lady before him was far stronger than him. Even the protector was not his match. I must escape quickly. He was scared out of his wits. This was too terrifying. The two ladies and one man before him were far stronger than him. Any one of them could easily defeat him. The appearance of such a strong person in his Black Dragon sect was definitely a disaster. He had to report this to the sect master. Humph. Murong Qingqing snorted. The other party dared to assassinate her. He was courting death. She waved her lily-white hand. Suddenly, a purple light shone brightly. A purple cloud like a saber cut the Venerable Assassination in half. What? The Venerable Assassination is also dead? Seeing this scene, everyone screamed in fear and fled in all directions. The remaining 3 Hall Masters in the sky also felt their scalps go numb. Their faces were filled with fear. Stop fighting, stop fighting. The 3 hurriedly shook their heads. It was a misunderstanding. Everything before was a misunderstanding. Since you have already obtained the mysterious crystal, we will naturally not snatch it from you and will not attack you. If you want to leave, then leave. We will definitely not stop you. Pink Venerable also quickly shook his head. Now they were no longer as arrogant as before. Instead, they were terrified and could not wait to escape. What a joke. In the blink of an eye, half of their Hall Masters were dead. The remaining 3 were naturally no match for Su Quebec. However, Lin Xian shook his head coldly. Kneel down and kowtow 10 times. Then I will consider taking you as my slaves. Otherwise, only death awaits you. What? Kit, you are courting death. The Hall Master of the Malicious Spirit Hall looked ferocious. The other 2 Hall Masters also looked terrible. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. Kowtow 10 times? Become their slaves? What a joke. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.